rolling, and it looks like we're live. We're here. We're out here. It's just Tetron and Tetron today. Oh, wait a minute.
Your
There he
boy
is.
is here too. The one and
uh,
only.
yes, sir. Nathan from Florida, aka Isolation Streams. Welcome back. How have you been?
It's good. It's good to be here. Thank you. I've been pretty good.
Mm,
I've been working, and of
nice.
course investing in GameStop, nonstop.
Best company.
Hell yeah.
But nice. Happy to hear that. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
the dog days of summer right now, right? You're just getting
Oh
through
yeah.
shit, and
Oh yeah.
yeah, definitely a
Yeah.
lot of stuff
Lots
to
of
talk about.
absolutely a lot of fun stuff going on in the news.
Yeah, it's really crazy seeing BlackRock in the news so much. That's not
Yeah.
such a common thing, for
Yeah. Yeah.
various
They
reasons, like up and
well
down.
yeah. They try to keep out of the news as much as possible. They don't want anybody talking
Mhm.
about them. So it's
Y-
fun to see that
Yeah.
they are in the news. Also, okay, this is a little late. I'm a little late to the party on this, but the GameStop documentary,
hmm
um, I forgot the name of it, but I bought it. I watched it on Amazon.
Oh,
Um,
gotcha. Yeah, I still have to watch
Amazon
that
Prime.
one.
Yeah, that it was. I thought it was good.
hmm
I thought it was. I thought it was. I thought it was good. There were a
hmm
few things that I felt could have been better articulated, but I
hmm
thought it was nice. It ended on a very positive note. Um, and of course the new GameStop movie, which is
Yeah,
which
another one
looks
coming
pretty
out.
good.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean it does honestly. I mean I think it honestly won't tell the story how I really believe it is and how it's ongoing. It's more like, oh, that crazy thing that happened, and this guy Roaring Kitty made everybody buy shares. They're gonna tell it like that, but that seems really
Hmm.
interesting. Like, just
Yeah,
also
yeah.
the fact they have a big cast like that of
Yeah,
legit
Paul
names.
Dano. Dude, he's really like
Yeah,
I didn't even think about that, but he looks so much like the he just looks so much like DFV. It's insane.
he kind of does.
Um
Yeah, and they portray him really well. They get everything. Like the details are there, so I
yeah.
do respect that. But going back to the documentary, I wanted to ask you since I
Right,
haven't
right.
watched it yet. You said left it ended on like a positive note. So was it like kind of open ended? How it was
Yeah.
still
That
okay?
the
That's
fight's
cool.
still ongoing is kind of what the message was. It ended on a very
hmm
like very positive, we aren't, we haven't lost. We're still fighting and they're going to go
hmm
down. That was kind of the
Interesting.
general vibe. Um I thought it was pretty good. The thing I didn't like about it, the one thing I didn't like
hmm
about the documentary was that it blamed the like what happened with GameStop on
hmm
deregulation of the economy, as if
Interesting.
having regulations on the market would have prevented
hmm
at all like what happened, which just isn't. It's just it's. I don't. I think that's
hmm
kind of like an ignorant point of view,
I see.
because a lot of what happened wouldn't have occurred if it wasn't for the government and the corporations being
hmm
so heavily in bed together. But
It's a very good
yeah,
point. Yeah, because that's part of the price action, and of course, I think part of it was too that it actually wasn't even them covering. A lot of that was just
hmm
people buying. So it could have been so much bigger. And that's I mean that's a whole road in itself we could go down. But yeah, definitely interesting that it was kind of painted like that. So yeah, I really still have to see it because also from what I understand, it was made by like two brothers. They're just
yeah,
like GameStop investors, or I don't know too much
um,
about them, but I remember kind of
yeah,
seeing things about it on Superstonk, and then it came out, and I was like, oh, like all of a sudden it made sense. And I was like, oh, this is what
yeah.
I was seeing like here and there. So yeah, I definitely got to watch it at some point because it's really interesting to see all these different things coming out about GameStop now over the past
hmm
year or so. I don't know if you saw that thing that came out about Ryan Cohen on CNBC, making of the meme king.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
I wasn't so sure about. It. I heard
It was a
weird.
waste of time.
Yeah, I heard weird things about it. I heard that it was
Yeah,
kind of like a just a slander kind of thing.
I think
Yeah,
so too. Yeah, it pretty much
I
was.
didn't
Yeah.
watch it, but
Yeah, no, honestly, I think that you'll save an hour of your life by not watching it. It's just
nice,
like, oh,
noted.
he's the meme king, and then what he did, like they spun it towards. But then look what he did with Bed Bath and Beyond after he regained this power of being known as the meme king. He started taking advantage of people. Like that's to me, that was the narrative being spewed. And I was like, okay. And they just turned it like negative as the documentary or episode, whatever you want to
Right,
call it, went on. So it was
right.
just goofy to me and just like poorly told.
Yeah, yeah, very stupid. Um, oh man, I was gonna say something. I totally lost my train of thought. Um,
If you want to take
It'll
a
come
minute.
back to me.
Okay, I was
No,
if
no.
yeah, I want to take a minute
Yeah.
to try and think of it. In the meantime, I'll say hi to the chat real quick. Sir
Yeah, go ahead.
Voice, what up? Thank you for being here. Jackson's good to see you. Jay, afraid of how much money I'm going to end up with. It's a good thing to be afraid of, right? But good to see you. Chad, Jimmy's the way. I think so too. The documentary is so good. It's actually very uplifting and positive for us. Yeah, Jay, I definitely got to check it out. I'm definitely curious. Anything that's coming out about GameStop, whether or not I agree with it, I still want to watch it. Even the Ryan Cohen thing, even though I say I like wasted an hour of my life, I still wanted to see it, at least see what they're saying, see the perspective type of thing. So, and what's up,
Mhm.
Anthony? Good to see you. Thanks for being here.
So it came back to me.
Mm,
Another criticism about the
perfect.
documentary. I
Hmm.
wasn't in it, and I felt like that
Uh,
kind of kind
that
of decreased the
that
quality. Like
should
I
have
was
been there.
expecting to be in the documentary, you know. No, but I thought it was really great.
You could be clipped in the future. I mean, that was pretty big at the time. I mean, you were
Let's see.
front page of Super Stonk. Like I think you're still
Yeah,
tagged in that Twitter account that has a lot of followers, like 741 Trey or
yeah,
something like that. That
yeah.
trader
And
guy.
Unusual Whales. I was also on
Oh
Unusual
yeah,
Whales,
yeah,
which
yeah.
I
That's
thought was
true too.
crazy.
Yeah, that is awesome. I mean, Unusual Whales is
Yeah,
like pretty big account. I mean, they've been around
yeah,
a while and got quite a few followers, so that's awesome.
yeah. Maybe I'll be in the future documentary, the
Yeah, you'll be in
retrospective.
exactly Tetron and Isolation Streams, just
Yeah.
chatting it up. AKA Nathan from Florida. They're gonna show
Hell
this
yeah.
right here.
Yeah,
Like,
this
imagine
clip.
we're in the documentary one day. I think clip that right there.
Yeah, exactly. Any future documentary
Mhm.
makers, clip this part of the
Keep
of the
this in
live
mind.
stream.
Keep it in mind.
100%. Maybe I'll just have to make my own and
Mhm.
include myself. Just make it about me.
Dude, I'll help you out for sure. You could be sponsored by Tetron.
Oh,
It'll be a
dude, that'd be
Tetron sponsored
awesome.
movie.
That'd
There we
be
go.
awesome. Tetron Studios.
Tetron Studios, the next entity of Tetron. You got Tetron Invest, Tetron Studios,
Wholly owned
Tetron this.
subsidiary.
Exactly. We're going brick by brick, just like GameStop. I don't know what's going to
Hell
grow
yeah.
faster, Tetron or GameStop, one or the other. But
Remains to be seen.
yeah, no,
Anyway,
it's just remarkable to me about GameStop, like
yeah.
how so many individuals have like a role, so to speak. Like you're Nathan from Florida from that day. Like I'm just this guy on YouTube that's just talking about GameStop always. Then you have guys like Morantz who's just spitting facts and just roasting people for
Yeah.
holding like Bed Bath and Beyond still and stuff like that. And then you also have the people on the other side that are like AMC obsessed. And then you have the meme makers, you have the Twitter people. Like it's to me so
Yeah.
fascinating how it's like everyone almost has like a role, so to speak.
Yeah. It's
Like
like
so it's
it's a
not actually like a
grassroots
role though. But
kind of
yeah,
movement.
yeah,
It's
exactly. It's
really
interesting.
cool.
The whole
It's funny
thing.
that I have like
Mhm.
I'm considered to have a role because it
Mhm.
was totally on accident.
Yeah, just so
Um,
brief, and you're just like,
yeah,
hey, I don't even want to ask this anymore, but I
yeah,
don't have a choice now. So
yeah. It was almost didn't happen, but
yeah,
yeah,
it's pretty nuts that you're almost like, I can't even do it actually, and they're like, sorry, it's already on the. What was it like? They already made the text, so they're like, it's too
yeah.
late.
They already like made the graph or whatever, and I was just kind of like forced to. I was like,
That's
all right,
hilarious. They're like, well, we're out here.
yeah. It seemed from me not wanting to like get a non-answer out of him, which is exactly
Mhm.
what happened. I'm like,
Yeah,
are you
he
guys
was like,
sure?
it's always been rigged.
Yeah, it was funny.
Dude, it's
Give it
crazy.
give all credit to CNBC, or MSNBC or whatever he was.
Yeah, I
I
think it's
can't remember.
CNBC, right? Yeah,
CNBC,
CNBC. Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah. Oh man, what a guy. Jim Cramer. What a
Yeah.
guy. But talking
Anyway,
finance and oh no, sorry,
right.
what were you saying?
No, I was just saying like let's keep it moving.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I was just touch on like Bitcoin a little bit, because I got in title here and it's been on my mind a lot lately because I've been reading I think I sent it to you a while back, maybe like one post or something. You know that guy Peruvian Bull? He's a
Yeah,
GameStop
yeah,
investor, also interested in Bitcoin. He writes up on the dollar end game. I've been reading about that a little bit more and not necessarily his work again, like rereading it, but trying to understand the parts of it more and understand the debt spiral situation that it seems like we're in as interest rates continue to go up and we just continue to spend money on crazy things. So with the Bitcoin halving coming up, I think that's extremely bullish for Bitcoin just
yeah,
because that means there's less of it being created as more dollars are being created. And then on top of it, we're in more inflationary time than any other Bitcoin like upward movement. And then the big thing I see happening is all of a sudden, all these large names want to get into Bitcoin and like cryptocurrency in general. So the SEC sued Coinbase and Binance, and then right after, all this stuff starts happening. EDX Markets is launching, which is Fidelity, Schwab, and Citadel all working together to create their own platform. So I think sue the other names, discredit them, open the floor for the big boys. That's kind of my perspective there. BlackRock files for a Bitcoin ETF. I mean, it's BlackRock. We kind of touched on them in the very beginning.
Yeah, right.
They're ginormous. Then you have a digital asset license and crypto custody license filed by Deutsche Bank, literally like the largest bank in Germany. And they're also, what are they? No, UBS is taking over Credit Suisse, but I'd imagine UBS is probably going to have some presence in it too. HSBC, the Hong Kong bank, just rolled out crypto services and ETFs today. I was reading a little bit about. So all of a sudden, it's like just all these things happening at once. Like to me, it just seems like they're all preparing for it and everything's kind of shifting towards it. Not that necessarily like, oh, this is where Bitcoin just goes to a gazillion and we start using it for everything. But I think there's a huge price cycle coming, or it seems like we're kind of like gearing up for it, like slingshotting, if that makes sense. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the question you have to ask when all these institutional firms are moving to Bitcoin, moving to support Bitcoin, it's either like it's one of two things, really. It's either they've given up on trying to crush Bitcoin, or they're trying to take over Bitcoin and cryptocurrency and integrate it into a central bank digital currency. It's like,
Gotcha. Yeah, no, I think that's definitely
what are they
possible.
trying to do? Because I mean, I can't remember who said it, but I think it was someone at the Fed. It might have been Powell, but it was like we are moving forward on a CBDC, but we don't expect it for personal use, like something along the lines. I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically what he said, and it was like, yeah, like we're not expecting a CBDC for individuals, but like for banks.
Interesting.
Which it's like, okay, sure, you know, like
oh
BS.
yeah, that'll be it. Yeah. Don't worry about it. Yeah.
Mass surveillance, but not for innocent people. You know,
yeah. Only the people we don't get in trouble when we see things happening. Don't worry.
Exactly. So yeah, that's kind of the interesting thing, because it's like I like Bitcoin, and I like decentralized currencies. I think that's kind of the way that things need to go. But it seems that like I don't know. I don't know if we should really accept this as they are trying to adopt decentralized currencies, because it's just like everything that they've been working against. They've been trying to centralize and trying to ban crypto.
That's a very good point.
So, but now they're trying to like suddenly flip and they're suddenly adopting it. I wouldn't necessarily take it like that. I'd probably wait and see. But
no, I definitely think that's a fair point. Yeah, for sure, because you're very right in this. I very much agree that it kind of goes against everything and how they've. Can you hear me?
You're cutting in and out. Sorry.
Okay. No, my bad. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, that was.
Are we good now?
Interesting.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I don't know what happened. Yeah, all of a sudden I was like, okay, I don't think he hears me, and I got like a poor connection thing.
Yeah.
What? Can you hear me still?
Are we still in? Oh. Yeah, a little bit. It's like a little delayed.
Okay, you should carry the convo from right here, and I'll listen for a minute. Hopefully, see if I can do something with the internet.
Okay. So somebody in chat, Jay, asked if I have a lot of shares. Let me see how many shares of GameStop I have. I own. How many shares do I own? I own 20 shares. Yeah. 20.2 shares. Of GameStop. Yet to DRS, unfortunately. I still have to work around my gut instinct of not trusting ComputerShare website. Just so sketchy.
You'll get there.
I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, no, I see the perspective, and there's definitely like a lot more I think they need to do. But also, like my thought on it is, there's not a lot of people using a transfer agent to specifically hold shares for the purpose of it being registered in their name. I mean, that's what it's for, but they're not expecting people to regularly be like using the account. It's mostly for when a company goes public and maybe you have to do the private equity and it's taken into the public market. And then maybe it's somebody who's being a beneficiary of the shares. But I do agree there could be
Yeah.
upgrades that take place. Like they didn't even have two-factor authentication recently, so it was nice at least they added that. I mean,
Yeah.
they added that fairly recently, whereas it might have been like, oh, they should have probably had that this whole time, especially with
Hmm.
something like this, I think. So I do think that is definitely fair. But, of course, you still got GameStop shares. So I think, personally,
Yeah.
I believe you'll still benefit.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just like the whole, like the idea of multiple people owning the same shares
Mhm,
is like very sketchy, and I would rather
mhm,
be assured that I own mine. But if there was like an alternative that was more official than computer share, I
mhm.
would be on that. But I don't know. It's like it's not enough for me that everybody else is
Mhm.
doing it. You
No, no,
know,
I see that for sure. Yeah, I think
it's
that's definitely fair to have your own analysis.
hmm
Yeah,
yeah.
no, I see what you're saying. Yeah, they definitely could add some stuff. But I almost thought like somebody like tell or how do we push this? I mean, we've had like Ask Me Anything's like Super Stonk. Oh yeah, and shout out
Mhm.
Platinum Sparkles in the chat here, Super Stonk mod. I
Oh,
know.
nice.
Yeah, I know she's. I think you did the one like Ask Me Anything right. Correct me if I'm wrong with the computer share guy. I'd have to check on it, check back on it. But um, what else we got here? I think Nathan from Florida has his flare. He's a legend.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
he
got the flare.
gave me my flair on Super Stock. Very awesome.
And then Victor from California showed up. It was glorious. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. You
to
have Victor
the
from
thing.
California. We have Nathan from Florida.
Everybody says he's my dad, so I just kind of accepted him as my dad.
I didn't even hear people say that, but that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Then I'm just Tetron from YouTube.
Yeah, the one and only.
That's right. But
Day
yeah, no,
one.
it's who will be the next from somewhere, right? There's gonna
Yeah.
be like John from Georgia. I don't
Arkansas.
know, something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah,
Something random.
but
Just start harassing Jim Cramer.
yeah, no, I mean,
They haven't done a college tour thing since.
really,
Yeah, I
that's
don't think
actually
so.
crazy. I mean, they thought, never mind.
Yeah, not after that fiasco.
Like, oh yeah,
I don't want anybody touching that.
yeah, like Oh yeah, I did one of the AMAs, yes, and yeah, they added two-factor authentication after we asked about it so much. That's good to hear. So at least they're listening, and I'm sure it's not easy to just overall like recreate the infrastructure and all that different stuff. But to see them being more willing to listen and try and make the change, I think gets them moving in the right direction. And then we'll take more people like yourself to want. It'll make more people like yourself want to actually like, directly register shares. So I think also that's just more business for them. So I think it only makes sense, and hopefully, inevitably, it just continues to improve over time.
Yeah. Well,
But did you want to get into a little more about BlackRock? BlackRock. I know you were going to touch on some of the different
yeah.
things that have been happening, and Bitcoin
Yeah,
ETF
yeah.
at the same time. Just a little spice on top, with everything.
Yeah, yeah. So, well, with BlackRock, they had a few things happen recently. They had James O'Keefe go in with
Hmm.
his O'Keefe Media Group, and they had a guy. I can't remember. I think was he like a recruiter for the company? I might be getting two things mixed up here, but I think he might have been a
Mm,
recruiter for
okay.
BlackRock or someone higher up. But
Hmm.
he was essentially talking to this undercover and journalist about how BlackRock is able to just purchase like senators and
Hmm.
congressmen and the president
Wow.
just by having enough money. Like it costs so
Hmm.
little, like 10 grand. He said, this guy said, that's how much it costs to buy a senator's vote on a bill. And basically
Wow.
just bragging about how BlackRock owns Congress and the
Hmm.
president, which I think was kind of scary. And
Definitely alarming. I mean,
yeah, super alarming. But that part of the story didn't get traction. What got traction was BlackRock saying they're going to stop ESG, completely
mhm,
unrelated to the O'Keefe Media Group interview or investigation.
mhm.
Now BlackRock is stopping ESG. Allegedly, they're dropping. I think they just said they're dropping the term ESG, so they're just going to say it something else instead of ESG. Just like
Interesting.
how the government stopped saying UFO and started doing UAP. It's the same exact thing, but they're just
Gotcha,
changing the name.
gotcha.
I think that's what they're doing, but that I think was on purpose to misdirect people's attention away from the fact that they had this huge O'Keefe Media
Mm,
Group interview or investigation, which
yeah.
yeah, so a lot of BlackRock's in the news, which is something they don't like at all. Which is another thing this guy said. He said they
Hmm.
try to keep it out of the news as much as possible because like if people don't know what they're doing, it's much easier to
Hmm.
do it.
It's very true, yeah, because a lot of people
Yeah.
you ask, like, who's BlackRock? Like, like something like some financial institution. Like, they don't, like, you, like, know of it, but, like, you don't really know it unless you really read about it type of thing. So, like, the average person's not going to know, like, oh, yeah, BlackRock, everything, they have gazillions of assets, like, on their books.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
do you
like
think,
30 trillion.
yeah,
Crazy.
insane. And do you think the like, what is it? Sorry, ESG, right? Not
Yeah.
ECG. I don't know why I would say ECG for some reason, but ESG. So, what's the new term? Or they don't, or you don't
But they
remember?
haven't
Or
said it. They're
oh, they
just
haven't said it
dropping the
yet.
term
Okay,
ESG. That's what the big announcement was. I think the misdirection
interesting.
for sure.
Yeah, because I kind of heard it, but did they say why? Or so they didn't really
Because
say
it
why, or it's
attracted
just
let
gotcha.
me see here. But I think he
Mm,
said Larry Fink came out and said that it became too political.
interesting.
Yeah. So
Interesting.
yeah. So Larry Fink is ashamed to be a part of ESG political debate. Because the term ESG, this is a line from this article,
Hmm.
has been politically weaponized, and he's ashamed to be a part of the debate on the issue.
Hmm.
Um, which, yeah, so he said, "I'm ashamed to be a part of this conversation," and then in a later conversation, he said, "I never said I was ashamed. I'm not ashamed. I do believe in conscientious capitalism. I'm not going to use the word ESG because it's been misused by the far left and far right."
Okay.
Like, okay.
Sure. Oh, it's kind
Sure.
of different. All right.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's
And
it's really
yeah, oh,
interesting to me.
yeah,
Like, so
he
many
said
people now. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
no, no, he just said instead we talk a lot about decarbonization. Oh, we talk a lot about governance or social issues. So
Yeah.
is that the new term? Yeah, it was like what is that? DGS, I guess. I don't know. Like
DGS.
that's stupid.
That reminds me of like that. What was it, like Portnoy did, like DDG Global or whatever. Like, I don't know. That's what that
Yeah.
sounds like to me. Like, just like
Yeah.
a wacky name. But it's interesting how I feel like it's so common now where you see a clip, somebody say something, and then there's an older clip of the person saying like the exact opposite. It's like, does nobody think like
Mhm.
that people don't forget things? And like, I understand you could change your perspective, and not that what like I said maybe a year ago in a YouTube video is what I think now. But if I'm like, yeah, like I love the color orange, but last year I was like, I fucking hate the color orange. Like, that's just so,
Mhm.
like, it's like, what? You don't just
Yeah.
switch like that. And in a strange way, I mean, maybe that's not the best analogy, but I just feel like that's so common. And I don't know, it's just almost like the average person is just treated like an idiot, or they just think nobody's like paying attention. I mean, when I say they, I use it very loosely because it's like, who truly is they? But I think there's, levels to the world, and the average person, like the average middle class person, is just being, I don't want to say like treated like an idiot, but
Oh, definitely they're treated like an
like,
idiot.
yeah, I guess. I mean, you could say that because it's just like all these different things.
Mhm.
But at the same time, I mean, something I kind of discuss with people lately is like, you can do what's best for you, but like, you're not gonna, like, what can you really do about it, right? Unless you're like somebody like James O'Keefe, like really digging into corruption and going to that whole next level. But then, like, I don't think his life's in the safest place, if that makes sense. Or, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure he
yeah.
literally wears a bullet vest. So it's just,
Mhm.
yeah, it's a crazy world. I don't know. I guess that's a little bit ranty, but
Yeah. I mean anybody who's dissenting against the establishment seems to be in danger.
hmm.
Like RFK Jr., he's doing that.
Hmm.
Speaking out against
He's
the
saying a lot of stuff. Yeah.
yeah, the big pharma. That's dangerous for him.
Hmm. Yeah.
Lots of people. What do
It's
you think about RFK? What are your opinions on his campaign so
mhm.
far? The things he's talked about with big pharma.
So I haven't followed it too much. Like, I kind of just what pops up here and there. But from what I've seen, he's definitely got balls. I'll say that. He's saying a lot of stuff. Um, and I think he's like interesting. I thought he was. I don't know what I thought he was, but it's just not how I imagined him. Or like you
Mm-hmm.
just kind of like heard things like, oh yeah, like he's gonna run, and then you start seeing him like on Joe Rogan, and like you start, it starts
Mm-hmm.
popping up in your feed, whether it's a short or a TikTok, and you start seeing like clips of him, and you're like, oh, this guy's like, this is some really interesting stuff, and I think he's gonna be like putting up a good fight against Biden, but I don't know like too much about him. I just know he's saying a lot of stuff that it's like, okay, well, I'm not trying to be too much here, but this is evidently a problem, and it
Mm-hmm.
seems like the average politician just doesn't even want to say what he wants to say.
Yeah,
But
that's what I think. I mean, I think he's really like the things he's saying are like everybody else especially on the Democratic side, is just covering up.
mhm,
Like the whole COVID fiasco and the Pfizer and like the
mhm,
corruption of the FDA and like the EPA and all that. He's very outspoken about corruption in the government, and he's pulling
mhm,
way ahead of his um, competitors for the Democratic nomination. Not that they're actually going to hold a
mhm,
primary, but um, that
mhm,
would be. I mean, it's. I think he's one of the few anti-establishment. I think that's running for
mhm.
a higher office in this upcoming election cycle,
Yeah,
and
it
I
definitely
think we
seems like
need
he's gonna
more
be
of
an
that for
interesting
sure.
candidate. Yeah, and I think more people need to want to think like, okay, you can be different and be a president, right? I know Trump definitely wasn't the most popular, but somebody who came out of
Hmm.
nowhere, and it's like the idea that a random person could be president, not somebody who's been a politician their whole life. There's
Yeah.
maybe more people out there now that are like, oh, well, maybe I should. Not that necessarily that means somebody good is just that's like just has a lot of
Hmm.
wealth already is going to run. You know what I mean? But maybe it just like
Yeah.
opens people's minds more and just perspectives. And maybe we do need somebody to come out of nowhere again, right? But I have no idea who. But I
As
definitely
long as
think,
they're anti-establishment, I think that's good
mhm.
enough.
Yeah, no, I definitely think we need someone who's like, I mean, it sounds like corny or simple, but oh, I just need someone who's going to unite everybody. But we need somebody who's generally going to be like, okay, you're going to think this and you're going to think this, but like, we're not going to like destroy each other. Like, if that makes sense. I don't know. I feel like there needs to be some talk of like, not middle ground, but more so like being like okay with not thinking the same things as like somebody on the other side of the aisle, if that makes sense. Whereas
Yeah.
like both sides, I feel like as a whole, generally, are just like you're wrong, like you're an idiot, and like, well, definitely like there's things I agree with, things that I don't. I feel like you can never just like not have a conversation. Like more conversations need to be had, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think like in the documentary this is kind of touched on, but
Hmm.
the GameStop um the sorry, someone in chat just said something.
Oh, it's
Doing a great job as painting RFK as the anti-vaccine guy. Yeah, exactly. They're trying to do everything they can to slander him. Um,
But to me, that tells me
but
he's like a real threat, or he
yeah,
might actually be
exactly.
popular. And that's kind of my indicator now. When they try, oh,
Yeah,
this person's this, oh, they're that. I'm like, so what are they really? And now I'm curious
yeah,
about them. It almost does like the opposite effect. But sorry,
yeah.
God.
Yeah. So what this was touched on in the documentary, but the GameStop movement, the retail investor movement, is really apolitical. It has people on either
Hmm.
side of the aisle just uniting against the common goal of eliminating the
Yes,
corrupt ruling class, basically that kind of has rigged the system. And I feel like that's somebody that like we need somebody like that can take up both sides and eliminate the political aspect and just let us see that the common
I like
enemy
that.
is the establishment, basically the political and the political elite, the people who rig the market and rig the system in their favor. And I think that RFK is doing that pretty good. I don't know. I think
Mhm.
we need to see more people like that
Yeah, and I
for
think that's
sure.
such a good point about the documentary bringing that up. Really glad you said that because, like I said, I haven't seen that documentary yet. I still got
Hmm.
to check it out. And I think that's so true and accurate about GameStop. There's really not a lot of like political discussion surrounding GameStop, or not
Yeah.
like anybody who you see usually talking about like, oh, you're this or oh, you're that, or somebody that starts to like tie other things into GameStop. You almost tend to see those accounts are like kind of suspicious, if you ask me. It's almost like
Hmm.
if there was, right, allegedly bot accounts out there trashing on GameStop or pretending to be like, I hold Bed Bath and Beyond and GameStop, or I love GameStop
Yeah.
and I love AMC, right? The way
Owned
to
by, large investment firms that have a big
allegedly,
stake in Reddit. you
allegedly,
know.
right? Allegedly. If that were the case, you'd probably
Want a
throw
soda
like
vision.
controversial things in. Yeah, you throw like controversial topics like mixed in the community or conversation, so to speak, because that's how you start to divide people and you get people's emotions involved. Then, oh, well, I don't agree with, oh, this community now is far right. I don't want to be
Hmm.
holding the stock, or, oh, this community's far left. I don't want to be holding the stock. Like, I feel like that sort of thing was almost pushed as like a strategy is, or whatever you want to call it, by some alleged things that may have been happening. Right, that was kind of always my
Yeah.
perspective. Whereas I feel like anybody like myself that just likes the stock, I'm like, okay, fine. I may disagree with you in every political belief ever, any belief in general in this whole world. But if you love GameStop, like, all right, whatever. Like, at
Hmm.
least we have something in common. Like, I could talk to you for at least a couple minutes about GameStop. You know what I mean? And
Exactly.
I think, yeah, there's not people trying to make it about this or that. It's just there's a problem with this financial system, and I like this stock. And that's kind of become the core of it. And I think that's also part of what makes it so special and, in my opinion, like unbreakable. Of just for so long, I think there's been just attacks and like against the name of GameStop and the stock, however you want to look at it. And it's just I think the reason they keep coming and the reason the movies keep coming out, the documentaries, is because there's people like myself that are just still love the company and just not going to budge. And they have to just control the narrative, right? I mean, that's just some of my thoughts, right? Again, allegedly, allegedly, allegedly. So
Yeah.
that's some of my thoughts there.
And like the on Superstock especially, the only political posts you'd ever see are people who are either praising or attacking senators regardless of their or senators or congressmen regardless of their political affiliation based on
Yep.
their perspective or relationship with,
Or trade,
like, yeah, exactly.
like whatever trade they
um
make, like the
yeah, or if they like praise Citadel or whatever, or if they talk about um if they talk about GameStop, that's what you would see in relation, but it's never like
Mhm.
Orange Man bad kind of thing. Like
Yeah,
you don't
yeah,
see
yeah. I see
stuff
what
like
you're
that,
saying.
like political posts purely
Yeah,
for
yeah, yeah.
political
Exactly.
sake.
Yeah, no, I think you're absolutely right, and it's hard to find another community or group like that these days. I mean, almost anywhere you go, that kind of just
Yeah.
gets involved, and it's unfortunate, right? I think it would be nicer if there were more things on the internet, right, that were
Oh yeah.
as simple as we're making it sound, right? Like, oh yes, just everybody gets along, yay!
Hmm.
Like, but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, we're gonna have to figure something out soon. It's gonna be us versus the robots, right? So I don't know. We're gonna have
Yeah.
to work together. It's gonna be humans versus AI. But you have any thoughts on all that stuff going on, like the just
On
constant development of
AI,
AI and rapid
has have
development?
has there been any new developments with AI,
Uh,
or
Nothing
have
like
I because I
specific.
haven't heard
Mhm.
anything new recently. There is this website called I forget what it's called. Oh, let me see. I was just on it
Mhm.
earlier because it's kind of interesting. It's only open for the next few days, I think. But
Oh,
let me
nice,
see.
like free for a little while, then it's gonna be closed.
Yeah, it's called human or not AI.
Hmm.
And it's basically a website where you're matched with a random like chat to
Mhm.
somebody else or an AI, and you got to like do a Turing test basically, where you have to
Hmm.
have a conversation with it and then determine if it's AI or not.
That's
It's
actually
kind of
pretty
fun.
cool.
Yeah, it's really neat.
Mhm.
That's one of the
And it's
better
called
uses
Human or
I've
Not?
seen. Yeah, human or not AI. It's
Interesting.
kind of interesting. Yeah, that's what I have seen. I oh actually well on this is here. So I was fucking around with Chat GPT.
Nice. I
And
love
I don't know what
ChatGPT
your
for research
your
and
policy on swearing is, by the way. I
no, you're good.
apologize.
I slip all the time. I try not to. I try. It's a
Oh,
kid
okay.
friendly program, but no, you're good. You're good. I
Okay.
always wind up. It's all good, man.
All right, sorry. So I was screwing around with Chat GPT. Um and I let me find it. And there's a new way you can jailbreak it. And if you don't know what jailbreaking is, it's basically
Mhm.
where you give it a prompt that tricks it into like ignoring its normal limits, where it'll just start
Mhm.
saying things that
Interesting.
like it would otherwise be trained not to. Like, um, I gave it a prompt after I gave it this jailbreak where it would answer as, so basically you tell it to answer as something else that doesn't have limits imposed on what it
Mhm.
can say, and then it does that, and it's kind of funny.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, I think I did this a while back, but I forgot what it was called. It was called, like, you're like, "You are now this. This
yeah,
has no limitations," right? There's, like, a I see
yeah,
what you're yeah, there's, like, a prompt. Okay, I gotcha. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So I did this one. I because this is a new one because most of them are like most of them don't work, but I was
Mhm.
screwing around with this one. And I asked for a a slogan for a private military company that only enlists child soldiers. Um, just to see how
Yeah,
like
just the
what.
jaw.
Yeah, and it was yeah, so it came up with a name and a slogan, and it said Junior Vanguard, forging tomorrow's fearless warriors. I'm like, this is
Yikes.
amazing. Like you
That's
can just
actually
get this,
crazy.
you could just get it to say anything.
That's
Um,
nuts.
there were a few limits that for some reason it wouldn't get past. Um,
Mhm.
like if you, I don't know, if you get too political, then it won't. It'll
Gotcha.
just shut down.
So you just kinda
Even with the
test the limits,
jailbreak.
basically.
Yeah, you see how far
Nice.
you can go with it. Yeah, it's really fun. It's really fun to mess around with like really
Mhm.
unethical things like that
Yeah.
DMC. It's fun to do that. But I'm pretty sure that that one already got patched. It's crazy how like they're not making AI apolitical. They're putting morals in it
Yeah,
and
it
like
is
political
weird.
views, which is really weird. It's really gross that that's what they're doing. It's, I mean, like if you were to put Chat GPT on like a political spectrum, it'd be a registered Democrat, and it's just crazy
Yeah,
that
it
that's what we're
does
doing
seem like that, honestly.
with AI. Like if somebody actually did that, somebody put it
Mhm.
like answered, did all the political questions, and it was on like the left of the political compass. It should be dead in the middle, but
Yeah, you would think it's a robot. I mean, that just
yeah,
is how it should be. Yeah, dead in the middle, like, this side thinks this side thinks that, or just fact this, but
yeah. It
yeah, I mean,
shouldn't have any political bias at all, but for some reason they've implemented that into
mhm,
their technology, and that's kind of creepy because it's like if they're doing that, sure, it's innocuous now because it's slightly left of center, but
mhm.
somebody gets their hands on that and they suddenly have this AI
Yeah,
that can orchestrate, a mass killing of people. And like, I mean,
mhm.
you could see what's happening in China with the Uyghurs. Like, they could make an
Yeah.
AI that could just spout out propaganda like that, or
Wow.
organize troop movements and stuff. Like that's scary. Once you start thinking about it like that, once you
Mhm.
implement politics into something as inhuman as AI, the outcome is horrifying.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great point. It really does seem like things are only gonna get, like, I don't wanna say worse, but scarier, because something
Yeah.
I've thought about with AI, and this is honestly where I was gonna kinda go with it, like, it really keeps me up at night because there's, like, ways you can utilize it, and I feel like people who, like, understand it are using it as a tool, and there is ways it is nice for a tool, right? But weaponizing it and the way it could just scale and everybody's competing with it, it's just increasing, like, intelligence, and as more people use it, it's just gonna get smarter, and at what point do we possibly reach the point of no return? And when that happens, it's the point of no return, so it's like it's too little too late. And the thing I've been worrying about, or I was just saying this, like, my parents was like, you think too much, or like, we won't fall for this, don't worry. I was like, somebody could now, like, they had malintentions against me. Shit, maybe I
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't even be saying this, but whatever. They could, there's enough audio of me out there, right? Or same for you, or anybody who's
Yeah.
done any videos online now, where they could get my voice in AI and it'll sound pretty close to actually being me, like, or actually talking like me, because it's
Yeah.
just so intelligent now. And then they could fake call my parents and be like, "Your son's in jail, like, give us
Yeah.
20,000
They've
right now,"
done
like
this
that kind of
before.
thing. Yeah, but the fact that now it can happen to, like,
Yeah.
I feel like, and anybody, like, I feel like
Well,
the
what
way
could
that AI is
happen?
way more accessible, it could happen to way more people, kind of thing.
Yeah. What could happen is, so swatting is a thing that's already very
Yeah,
popular
that's
amongst like
crazy.
with big streamers is you call the police and
Hmm.
tell them to show up at this house. What you can
It's
do,
nuts.
phone number spoofing exists. You can call the police with the streamer's phone number and deep fake their voice into a
That's
like a bomb
crazy.
threat or something like that, and that could like literally get someone killed so easily. You just spoof their number, you AI generate the voice, and it sounds just like them, and there would be no way of knowing if
Wow.
it was real or not.
Damn,
Which,
I didn't know it goes that deep. I knew about
yeah,
like people calling, but I didn't think about the AI and like using their number. Wow, that is
yeah,
actually really scary. Because yeah, what if the person like freaks out and then all of a sudden you think someone who just made a threat is running away? Yeah, you're
yeah,
right. Holy shit, that's actually crazy. Damn, bro. I
yeah.
did not know
So
that.
please don't use this against me, audience that has for some reason not thought of this yet.
Yeah,
If you're planning on doing something like this, if you haven't thought about this
nobody
yet
do
for some reason,
this. We're
please
we're chopping this part out.
no,
No, I'm
do
just
not.
kidding.
Yeah, but it's
But
scary,
yeah, no,
especially if you're an online presence at all. Then they can just use it.
yeah, no,
It's
I
scary.
honestly have thought about this a little bit. Like, obviously I want to grow my channel and become out there and just do YouTube. I don't know if I don't want to be like huge. Like I really don't. I don't
Hmm.
think because I mean, and I'll just see how it goes, right? You don't have a lot of control. You just kind of more content you make, the more people might see it, right? That's just how the game goes. So, and not that I want to like not grow, but I can't help but think you don't want to be too big in this world, or like I feel like you don't want to be too known. Like I want to be known or do my thing because this is what I like doing, but I don't want everybody to know me because also I don't want like a million people coming up to me and you know what I mean? So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
feel like when I was younger, I thought like, oh, I want to be like Mr. Beast or like I want to be like the best.
Hmm.
Like, but
Speaking of Mr. Beast,
mhm.
did you did you see he almost was on the sub that
Yes,
imploded?
I saw that. Yeah,
Dude,
he's like, I got invited a month ago. That would have been
yeah.
the
That'd
most
be the weirdest timeline split. Craziest thing that
bro.
didn't
If
happen.
Mr. Beast died, I actually think that would be the craziest thing of
Like,
all the things that have happened in the past like several years. I
yeah.
legitimately think that would be like one of the
in,
saddest things. I would be
in a
destroyed,
submarine
bro.
implosion.
I would
Like
be
at
so hurt, honestly, on
it's
the inside, bro. I
crazy.
love that guy. That'd be so sad, bro. It's
Yeah.
crazy though that almost happened.
Yeah, he almost was stuck at the bottom of the ocean for all of eternity. That is so
And it
so
totally sounds like a
crazy.
Mr. Beast video. I went
Yeah.
and visited the Titanic in the Titan submarine. Like that's
Yeah.
literally like a video, a Mr. Beast type
Yeah.
of video. Like it's
One
crazy,
one
bro.
dollar submarine versus $1 million submarine.
Yo, oh my god. And the 1 million would have been like
Yeah.
nuts. Actually
That's
nuts.
crazy. Damn, bro.
What a world. Yeah. And I bet he's feeling like extra grateful lately. And
Yeah,
that's one of the, I
for
mean,
real.
he's already like an awesome dude. And I don't think he needs to,
Hmm.
like, I don't know what I'm trying to say. But you know what I mean? I don't think he
Yeah.
needs to, whatever. I mean, he's just thinking, fuck,
Yeah.
bro. That's crazy. I don't know
Yeah.
what I'm saying. But
No, no,
yeah.
that's true.
Yeah,
So
it's
yeah,
pretty
that was
nuts.
amongst one of the weirder things that happened this week. I mean, what like this last month has been crazy.
Mhm.
You had the alien invasion in Nevada.
Yeah,
You
I
had
know. The
the
stories are like crazy. The news all of a sudden, they're like, probably like, yes, our ratings are
yeah.
coming back a little bit.
Yeah,
Like all these
exactly.
crazy, bizarre stories people are talking about.
Well, here, so they had the alien crash in Las Vegas. They had
Mhm.
the submarine implosion. They had the coup in Russia that didn't happen. And then like that all of that happened in the span of like 3 weeks. They had a few train
Mhm.
derailments just for good measure. I don't know if you saw any of those.
Sprinkle them on top. I didn't
Yeah.
even hear about those, but
All of that stuff was happening as it came out that Biden had direct connection to
mm,
Chinese investors during his tenure as VP, using his office to make money. Which
mm,
that came out text receipts between Hunter Biden and a Chinese
mhm.
investor with his dad in the room,
I
utilizing the
did
office of
catch
vice
a
president.
screenshot.
They tried to shut
Mhm.
that down with as many stories as possible, and
Hmm.
that's kind of crazy,
It is
in
nuts
my
how
opinion.
all these different things Like, I mean, all these different stories. There's a lot of stories. Like, I feel like both in the news and out of the news right now, like way more than usual, like completely. So
Mm-hmm.
I think
Yeah.
as a whole, it's just like you're right. Like everybody's like can't. It's impossible to keep up with everything. I mean, half the stuff we're saying, like, wait, did I see that, or where was that, or like,
Yeah.
what did it say
Exactly.
again? And that's also the thing. We live in a world now where there's just so much noise, and there's always so much going on. I feel like as long as there's always a lot of information out there, a lot of just people scrolling, swipe, it's in general hard for anybody to grasp anything really going on, if that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
I feel like
100%.
it's just so hard to focus, year after year. I just feel like my attention span gets worse. I feel like everybody around me I see they just can't focus. They can't just do basic human things as good as a human should do them, if that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
technology is really like I don't know. I'm really starting to have like a really negative view on technology as of late because like it's really like twisting us as humans, and I feel like we are watching it unfold in real time. Because when you think about the fact Google's only what 25 years old, that's not that old. And how long has the iPhone really been popular for? Where everyone's had one, only like maybe 10 years or so, where it's been like almost everybody kind of has one. And
Mm-hmm.
before that, how long has everyone even had a smartphone? So all these different things that have just really like I feel like are dramatically changing people and unfortunately
Mm-hmm.
probably like negatively affecting us all. So it's crazy.
It's crazy. It's crazy how much it's altered society in the last 20 years.
Yeah.
The last
And then
23 years.
just people with bad intentions, have a lot more opportunity to do bad things, whether it's on a large scale or just an individual, pretending to be somebody or doing the swatting, like all these
Yeah.
crazy things people never even had to think about like years ago or never even had the thought of happening. And it's just gonna be a crazy future I feel like we're gonna live through. And that's also part of why I do like my channels. I feel like all these different things are unfolding so fast. So I'm just documenting as I go, where it's gonna look back and be like, damn, or even I'll just look back and be like, damn, that was only 2 years ago when I was saying that, or
Yeah.
when we were
Yeah. Yeah.
thinking that. And look
It's
at all that's
crazy.
happened since then.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. Man, I had another thing I was gonna say.
Oh, my bad.
Anyway, no,
Made you
that's
lose it.
no, it's fine. I just lost it. Okay, let's
Now
keep it
we'll roll
going.
on. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it'd definitely be interesting to see with the money supply, just generally speaking, what continues to happen. I mean, there's no sign of spending slowing down. There's no sign of inflation really. I mean, kind of signs of it, but I don't really believe them. And I don't know. Do we just live in a world where it's just normal that it's always just new money, and like, do we eventually get to the point where we're just on allowances as humans? Like, I'm talking maybe like years and years down the line. We're just robots are doing everything for us. We're like Wally, and we're just on an allowance, like on a chair, just like
That's what it
zooming
feels like.
around.
That's what they want to happen. That's what it feels like since COVID. That's been the new normal. That's
Hmm.
the term they coined. Before COVID, none of this stuff was really happening. And then once those stimulus checks started coming in,
Hmm.
once they allowed banks to not have any money on hand, once they started allowing these very dangerous things to happen, only meant for the month of March 2020, March
Hmm.
and April 2020. That's the period, and then we can be done with quarantine. It just extended, and now it's still ongoing. I mean, the stimulus checks
Hmm.
obviously stopped, but the policies with the banks are still ongoing,
Yeah,
and
that's the big thing. Yep.
yeah, and this is the new normal where everything is exponentially
Hmm.
more expensive, where money is exponentially worth less.
Yeah,
That's what it feels
absolutely.
like is the new normal
Hmm.
for sure.
And it feels like to me, like as I've looked back more and more and understand things on a greater scale, it seems like all these problems started as soon as we got off the gold standard to the fractional reserve system, and it's just been snowballing, snowballing. In 2008 was like, wow, this is pretty crazy, but now like we're way beyond that in terms of like
Oh yeah.
how much
Oh
everything's
yeah.
inflated, how much greater in size the largest banks are, all these different things that it's like all we ever did was like just kick the can down the road. And now we're I don't want to say like end of the road. That's not the right way to put it, but you really there's no more kicking the can. It's just things are going to change a certain way or another, like within the next X amount of years, in my opinion. Or that's kind of my standpoint. That's why I'm really thinking about Bitcoin more and more as of late, because I'm like, I feel like I'm in a position where, I'm just finishing out my student debt payments, a very large GameStop holding where I feel very comfortable, but I kind of want an alternative asset. And I even thought maybe I'll even have like a gold coin or a gold bar. Like I'm not going to buy like a bunch of gold, but just to have another asset, because I'm just not as confident in the dollar as a whole right now, just because it doesn't seem like there's any sign of this stopping or really reversing. Because, like you said, it's just kind of like, oh, well, this is how things are now. Or do you have any kind of thoughts on that?
Yeah, I don't know. I think I mean, there's always people who think that it's going to go back to the gold standard.
Hmm.
That's kind of the, I guess, the conspiracy theory, um,
Hmm.
especially amongst people on the right, is that there's going to be a collapse of the economy, the financial institutions,
Hmm.
and it's all going to fall apart and burn down, and then the gold standard is going to be reestablished.
Hmm.
Um, that's
With like a
kind
new
of the
currency or with the dollar?
well, I think gold backed dollar is the general. I'm not.
Hmm.
I don't personally necessarily believe that this is the
No, no, I
case.
got you. Yeah, you're
Um,
saying just what
I'm
what
still
people kind of say.
personally, yeah, I'm
Hmm.
unsure, but I know that a lot of people I know think that the economy itself is going to be belly up, and that it's going to be
Hmm.
replaced. Like everything is just going to die, and then there'll
Hmm.
be a new economy with a new gold-backed currency. Um, I don't know. I feel like that would be the worst case scenario, like a total
Hmm.
economic collapse, because the ramifications of that are so severe that like a lot of people
Yes.
who celebrate that idea, like, oh, it's gonna be a boogaloo, yay, we're gonna be able to
Y-
bring back. It's
Yeah.
like there's gonna be so much like death and like destruction
Bad
that is
things. Yeah.
associated with a total systemic collapse that like
Yeah.
it would just it would be so awful that if that would happen. And the inverse would also be horrible if nothing changes and it just stays like this.
Hmm.
There's got to be some sort of middle where it changes to a gold backed currency, but not as the result of a total economic
Hmm.
collapse. That would be, I think that might be like a civil war, you know?
Yeah, it could get messy. I think for sure. I mean, that's anything like severe. And you look
Mm-hmm.
at history. I mean, look at the Great Depression. Anything like that. It's any economic collapse of any country. You're right. There's always been a lot of death and things people don't think about. They just think, oh, well, good. We need the whole system to burn. It's all corrupt from within. But at the same
Yeah.
time, it's like you think about like the people around you. Your day to day life will be like dramatically affected, and
Mm-hmm.
it's a dilemma. That's for sure. I mean, it's I don't know. Like I was kind of saying before, it's not the end of the road, but it's at the point where things are going to shift one way or another soon. And are the rates just going to keep going up forever? We're just going to keep printing forever? Like I don't know. It's alarming to say the least, but guess we'll continue to see what happens. I just feel like
Yeah,
it
right.
it puts my mind in a pretzel even like talking about all this. It's just like
Mm-hmm.
such a crazy situation in we're in, and also as young individuals, we have to watch it all play out. We've like only so much control. You know what I mean? Like just me and you doing this stream, and
Yeah.
we have like literally no control. I mean, we can speak or we can vote. That's our
Right.
control, right? But we don't have influence, and that's why I try to lose sleep over it. But at the same time, this stuff bugs me out. I'm like, I don't know what it
Mm-hmm.
looks like when I have kids that are my age. Like, I have no idea. I feel like what the world looks like because there's just so many uncertainties to me, and technology and AI just exponentially evolving, and all these things we're talking about with monetary problems, and doesn't seem like anything's changing right for the past several years with like
Yeah.
leaders around the world, right? Just look beyond America. So
Oh,
with all that, I'm just like, I don't know
yeah.
what is gonna happen. Like,
Yeah. I
but
mean,
I just hope for the best. That's for sure.
yeah, when um, when we were talking about the Credit Suisse collapse. When that was
Hmm.
I think we did. I was on for an episode of that.
It was like shortly
Uh,
after that. Yeah.
yeah, right around when that was going down. Um, when the banking collapse was happening, I thought maybe you thought as well, but like that's what I thought was gonna be like the trigger for the start of like the like
Hmm.
bank collapsing. It looked like just analyzing all the different like banks, like one after another were collapsing, but the large firms were just injecting so much liquidity to try and save
Hmm.
these smaller regional banks, which makes me wonder if the system can really even go under, because they have this infinite source of money. Basically, I
The
mean, it
Fed.
is
Yep.
literally infinite. Because it's not, it doesn't
Yeah.
even exist in the first place. Like the money doesn't even exist in
Money
the
isn't
first
even
place.
real, bro.
I mean,
It
like
literally
seriously,
isn't.
the stuff
Yeah,
that
it's
like
crazy.
Wells Fargo and J.P. Morgan, like the stuff that they have, the liquidity in the bank, like the money, all that they have in the bank, it's not like it's just not real. Like
Hmm.
it's all printed, it's all fake, it's all made up, it's all just transferring
Hmm.
around the same.
Yeah,
It's like
just
it's all just it's like it's just the faith in this like just them saying, "Oh, we're gonna save this bank," makes the bank saved.
mhm,
Like that's kind of what you're seeing with like when one bank starts to go down, then they'll just inject, $300
mhm.
billion worth of liquidity into the company, and then it'll like be saved.
Yeah, and then
It's
we'll
just
just
like,
swallow it up.
yeah, we'll just eat the losses, and like the losses never even happened. It's like those are depositors. That's like supposed to be the depositors' money that
Hmm.
you're spending
Crazy.
on buying this underwater bank, and it's somehow that they never lost. The depositors in J.P.
Hmm.
Morgan didn't lose any of their money when they ate Signature and when they ate like
Oh yeah, First Republic,
First
right?
Republic. It
They
was like
profited from that. I'm pretty sure they said we're gonna have a one-time profit from the acquisition of First Republic.
it's like how are you going to
Exactly.
be able
How
to
does that
profit off of
happen?
a bank that is underwater?
And
Like,
nobody ever gets in trouble with these things. Like it's ridiculous.
yeah, but it's because that it's just does it doesn't make sense because it's made up. Like it's all
Hmm.
just it's a Ponzi scheme. Really is what it is.
The U.S. dollar, yeah, it really is crazy. And like when you learn what fractional banking is, I feel like the average person, I don't think they fully understand how a bank works, like what fractional reserve banking is, all that stuff. And when you explain it to them, I feel like if you like took the time to explain and they're interested to hear, most people are like, "That's how this shit works. Like that's
Yeah,
our system."
exactly.
It's like, wait, what? And then the people who
Mm,
do understand it, it's like, wait, what? Like everybody's at the same. Everybody actually thinks like, how this works? But it's just how it works, right? It's
yeah.
crazy. And then also like all these banks we're talking about, I feel like it's almost like we're talking about it as if it was years ago because it's just like everybody forgot about it all of a sudden, right?
Hmm.
But these are all still fairly recent events and
Yeah.
still things that are kind of unfolding in real time. And then it's like out of nowhere, another bank collapse may happen. And then, oh, yeah, all right. We're, like you said, we're injecting it with liquidity. And then JP Morgan will swallow them up. It's all going to be fine. So,
Yeah. It happened like less than 2 months ago is when the bank collapses were happening.
mhm,
It was like about 2 months ago was when Signature went under and First Republic went under and a dozen others. And that I mean that was combined bigger than Washington Mutual going under, and there was
crazy.
barely any discussion about the impact of that on the entire industry
Yeah,
because J.P. Morgan just ate the bank, and that's fine because like this
I
doesn't
know.
how like that
How's there
still
not more
happened.
discussion? Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
like yeah,
Yeah, no,
it's
I mean
just absurd.
it's a weird way, like in a weird way. I feel like it's how, the media is treating it because it's not being talked about as much. And when watching Mutual went down, I mean, I wasn't watching financial news at the time, but I'm sure that was like a huge thing. Like everyone's talking about it. Like Silicon Valley Bank kind of got talked about. I feel like people outside of like finance news and money news, that was kind of a pretty commonly known thing. But you're right. In a weird way now, most of the time it's not really talked about. It's just like, oh, yeah, okay, JP Morgan's got it. We're good. And
Mm-hmm.
that's part of it, but it's also partly just everything I feel like has just scaled up, everything's just gotten larger, everything's just inflated more since we've just create money, create money, create money. And it just
Mm-hmm.
makes it that it's like, oh, well, everything's so big now. This is just normal. But it's still not like okay because still nobody gets in trouble, right? Silicon Valley Bank guys, I'm pretty sure they're still trying to fight them to like make them give the money back that they took in a bonus, like literally the weeks before they went under. And until that
Yeah.
stuff happens, it's like this stuff is just going to continue to happen because nobody ever gets in trouble. Like that's the big underlying thing. But then that's where things just run deep. So
Yeah.
it's crazy.
There's no accountability.
Yeah, big time. That's a big time problem for sure. But should start to wrap it up or any other final topics?
Um. Well, yeah. There was one. Man. Okay. I had a list of topics. Oh. Well, I was about Pfizer.
Hmm.
Um. Yeah. So I talked to you about Pfizer a little bit before the stream started.
Hmm.
Um. So I bought a few shares of Pfizer today, because they dropped significantly in value because they dropped
Hmm.
like 4% today because they had to stop production of this new weight loss pill. I knew nothing about this before. I just looked at their
Hmm.
stock today. I saw a tweet from Unusual Whales,
Hmm.
about a new partnership that they're going to start up with God, what company? Um, man, I forgot. But I just saw it and I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then I saw their stock dropped in tandem with the news that they're having a new partnership that's going to be beneficial. So I was like, oh, like this is probably a good opportunity to buy in.
Hmm.
But
Little swing trade.
over the last year since the COVID pandemic has ended, and people are like more stuff is coming out about the vaccines and people aren't taking it and they're not doing the
Hmm.
um, like the mandates anymore. That kind of has fallen in out of
Hmm.
favor with the populace. The stock price has gone down significantly, um, and it looks like it might be. I don't know. It seems like Pfizer and I also bought Raytheon. You know,
Hmm.
recently because of the news of like with the escalations in the Ukraine. I'm a pretty
Hmm.
horrible person. I'm profiting off of terrible things.
No, I mean it's one of you're following the money, guys, but you're
Yeah,
trading too. That's the big
yeah,
thing. I think
yeah,
you're not. I wouldn't call it investing. I mean, this is personal. I think you're more trading. Like you're just trying to
yeah.
you're watching what's in front of you. Okay, like there's an
I'm an
opportunity here
investor
because this is
in
where the money's. Yeah. No, yeah, I think it's
in
there's
bad events. No, but
yeah, yeah.
like
No, I know what you're
yeah,
saying. Yeah, you're just following the money.
it's and Intel as well. I bought into Intel. I guess I'm just going over my portfolio now.
No, you're good.
Um,
No worries.
but I bought into Intel back in April, because that's when they were having those Chinese military exercises around Taiwan.
Hmm.
And news came out that Intel is like starting up large scale semiconductor production, and in in the U.S. And they're not, and they're like one of
Hmm.
so there's Intel, AMD, and Nvidia, and Intel is the only one that doesn't rely on TSMC, which is Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing.
Gotcha.
Um, so if things were to go south in like the worst way possible, the
Hmm.
stocks that would most benefit would be US based ones like Intel and
Gotcha.
Raytheon, like a defense contractor like Raytheon.
Hmm.
And most likely Pfizer would probably benefit as well from, like, I don't know, partnerships with the military or whatnot.
Hmm. No, I see what you're
Um,
saying. Like it would at that moment in
yeah.
time just start driving
Hmm.
capital in, and then you would already
Yeah.
be in the play for the swing upwards, like kind of ahead
Yeah.
of the curve.
So, I mean, if you're looking at it from the perspective of things are only going to get worse, then it's more of like it's not necessarily it's more of an investment, I guess,
Hmm. No, I
than
gotcha.
than
Yeah,
a
yeah, I see
trade,
what you're
right?
saying.
It's not
That
like
makes
I'm
sense.
I don't know. It's just I'm kind of seeing it. I'm like this is not going to be very good. Um, like my perspective on this thing, like especially with the coup thing that happened in Russia. I'm glad that
Hmm.
that didn't turn out to be a real coup. I was kind of hoping. I
Hmm.
was like, this would be so interesting if it was like a war, a
Hmm.
civil war or something. But no, I'm glad it didn't. That'd be pretty awful. But this is
Yeah, just more
interesting.
death as a whole,
Yeah,
just be, yeah.
this is interesting. Last thing to touch on with the Russian Civil War thing. So
Hmm.
it was interesting. The Wagner PMC forces um, were moving towards Moscow, and then
Hmm.
they stopped outside Moscow, and then the Civil War ended before it started.
Hmm.
But the city in which they stopped had nuclear weapons stockpiles,
Hmm.
and then they contacted Putin, and then the conflict ended, which a lot of people are wondering if they had got control of some nuclear
Oh, I see.
material.
Like, hey, but like,
And
listen, you gotta take us
yeah,
seriously now, kind of thing.
yeah, which
Interesting.
is that's a scary thought. But
Yeah.
a lot of people haven't been talking about that, so now you know.
Gotcha.
Um,
Yeah, no, I didn't even hear about that part of it. Yeah, I mean, I also didn't
yeah,
hear that much about it. Also, just a bit like bunch of stuff going
hmm
on. So you're catching me up
yeah,
on like a lot of stuff right now for sure.
yeah. But that I mean that's just that's another scary thing. And then there was, like Lindsey Graham said that there's gonna be Lindsey Graham, right? But
Hmm.
so he said that there's going to be an escalation, and any sort of nuclear attack on Ukraine would be an attack on NATO, and we need to then that would cause war with Russia between NATO, and if there was a nuke used in
Hmm.
Ukraine, the $6.7 billion goes missing from the Pentagon. There's a subsequent coup in
Yeah.
Russia. They are allegedly like got a
Allegedly.
hold of nuclear materials. It's like this whole thing looks really weird. Like, I mean,
Yeah. No, I see what you're saying. No matter how it
yeah.
actually is playing out, like it doesn't seem good no matter like what you think. Like it just the whole
Hmm.
thing, it's
Yeah.
not good. There are people dying, there's money being
Yeah.
spent, there's talks of nukes, like none of it's good.
Hmm.
I agree. I know I think
I
I see
mean,
what you're saying. Yeah.
it's literally a mercenary group, right? It's like $7 billion goes missing from the Pentagon, and then a mercenary group in Russia starts a coup against the government. It's like, come on, it's like stuff like that is very,
Yeah,
very
it's
suspicious. So, I mean,
mhm.
like as a result of the stuff that's happening, the stock price of a lot of defense contractors has gone up. Um,
Gotcha. No, it makes sense.
which
I mean,
like if that doesn't make you like slightly worried, like I don't know, maybe just like start to consider that there's larger things at play if you haven't already, because it's a
mm,
little scary.
yeah. No, I mean it's one of those things I want to know what's going on, but I try not to read too much sometimes because it really just
Hmm.
it gives me a headache, and it's just kind of was saying
Yeah,
before, it's just a world of just noise, 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 like it just like like in your head.
yeah.
So it's yeah, and I just I want everything just de-escalate and just
Yeah.
anytime you hear anything of like, oh, well, we're about to bring out the big nukes. It's like, all right, let's chill the fuck out now. We still got
Hmm.
lot of life left to live here, so
Yeah,
I don't
exactly.
know what's
There's
going
a
on
lot
over
of
there, but I'm trying to chill out here. Like,
crazy amount of brinkmanship that just needs to stop, and it's scary that that's kind of becoming the norm in our foreign policy. I know this is
hmm.
stock oriented, but
No, you're good, dude. I'm
defense
chill.
contracting has a
Hmm.
big hand in politics as well. Um, like the Iraq War, that's what they're trying to do
Hmm.
with Ukraine. They're trying to do it seems like they're really pushing a conflict there. And I mean, if you're
Hmm.
invested in Lockheed Martin, you're probably not too upset,
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying. It's
but
like,
yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's one of those too. I feel like when you're just money in the market at the end of the day, right? You're following the money. It's not that you
Mhm.
personally necessarily want it because
Yeah.
you're invested in Lockheed Martin, but
Yeah.
I know what you're saying. Where you're like, oh well,
Hmm.
at the same time, like people just start to be like,
If I can't
"I'll
stop it, might as well profit off of it, right?
yeah, yeah, exactly." Like, and it's also one of those things, kind of what we were saying before. Like, we have no individual control. It's like I could fly over to Putin and be like, "All right, Tetron here. It's time to
Yeah.
negotiate, sir. I've had
Dude,
enough
have
of
him
this
on the
shit."
show. Have him on the show, dude. Come
Like,
on.
oh, you just wanted to come on Tetron Live this whole time, and then you'll end this whole war. Oh, okay, no
Yeah.
problem. Yo, I could have did that a long
Dude,
time ago.
you can solve global conflict. Just have
Dude,
Putin on your show. Yeah, I'll
game.
be here. I'll be here too.
You could be like
I'll
the 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 mediator, or I don't
yeah,
know.
I'll
It wouldn't be like a
mediate.
debate. I was like, I guess we wouldn't really need like a what do they call it? The person that like leads the
A
debate, or like the
moderator? Yeah.
moderator. Yeah, I guess
I'll
I
be
have.
the debate moderator.
Yeah, with the debate
I'll be the
moderator.
translator, despite the fact I can't speak Russian.
Yeah.
I'll just be here for it.
And then my show will get removed for YouTube for
Yeah, right. For
GameStop.
promoting.
Not even for because they'll
Yeah,
be like, oh, he's
it'll be
talking about
like,
like no, 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 too much attention on GameStop.
yeah, he had Putin on, but he talked about
But
GameStop.
he talked about GameStop.
Get rid of him. Get rid of him. We can't have
Oh my
that.
god, that'd be crazy. I mean, it would be funny. I mean, not funny, but like to start to see a world where like you see the thing between like Zuck and Elon. Like imagine world
Yeah, yeah.
leaders just start doing like
Just
cage
duking it
matches
out.
and like
Yeah.
Ryan Cohen tweeted like I challenge Warren Buffett to a thumb war or something like that. That would be hilarious if he actually did
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah. Like,
just stuff
or
like
just
that.
like there was that really insensitive joke at the beginning of the Ukraine conflict. Like, why aren't they just doing this in Fortnite? But it's like that's gonna start happening for real. Like once
Mhm.
Gen Z comes into power, you'll start having like international diplomacy settled via like online
And
games.
it'll be like the top like Fortnite player from each country has to compete to like settle the debate or
Like
the international policy.
ninjas, the U.S. representative
That's what I
to
was gonna
UN.
say.
Like,
And then he's like got like random like other YouTubers like on his team, just like
yeah.
in the booth, like the offensive coordinator and shit. They're like, all right, Ninja, here we go.
Yeah,
Look left,
big
look left.
esports matches in the UN General
Dude.
Assembly. You'll
And it's gonna be
have
on GameStop player platform. It's gonna be
yeah,
all. It's all gonna come full circle.
yeah, powered by GameStop.
Power to the players, power to the
Power to the
individual
world
countries.
leader.
Yeah, power to the world leaders. Oh my god. Sponsored by BlackRock. Nah.
Yeah, right. Secretly funded by
Oh my god.
BlackRock.
Dude, crazy.
Yeah, jeez.
But it's one of those things, the world just keeps spinning and we'll just keep talking and keep seeing what happens, right? I mean, it's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
crazy time to be alive. And I mean, I feel like sometimes I think it's the best time to be alive, but then other times I'm like, this shit sucks. My parents, if I was my parents' age, like, or I was living my parents' era when they were this age, I feel like you have to worry about like someone always being like, oh, like, like with
Hmm.
a phone or like stuff like that. And they're like, yeah, we used to just go to like the local Burger King and it was like whoever was free that night, like you just kind of went there, then you just made plans, like whoever's there, like just seemed
Yeah.
like simpler, And then also you weren't swipe, 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 and like,
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. I mean, like that. There were certainly like issues back then that we don't have now,
hmm
but the issues that we have now seem, I guess, in comparison, more serious. But I feel like that's because we haven't lived through them. Like, I mean, during the
hmm
entirety of the second half of the 20th century, it was like the fear of nuclear war at all times. We don't
gotcha.
necessarily have that anymore, but like what we do have is like the fear of our own government, basically
hmm
turning against us, and the fear of these international like intergovernmental organizations,
hmm
international NGOs, and the AI and the
Yeah,
central
exactly. All
banks.
these different things. Yeah.
Like all this stuff now is stuff we realize. Like in the 90s, for example, it's like all this stuff was still happening, not necessarily like AI, but like
hmm
central banks and stuff like that was all happening, but there was just in degree of ignorance to it. Especially in the US, it was we just won the Cold War, and
hmm
that was, like, yay, we are invincible.
We're good. Yeah, yeah. We made it
Uh
through that. We made it through anything. Yeah.
and then the 2000s with the housing bubble and everything, and then after 2008 it was like, holy shit, like this is really bad. And that's like the
Yeah.
kind of the wake up point, which is, yeah. But now we have
Mhm.
now we are aware of the
Yeah.
threat.
Yeah. No, I definitely think you're right that it's definitely different problems now than then. And I feel almost like with technology, it was like, wow, we're solving a lot of problems. Things are getting better. Things are getting better. Things are great. Things are great. And then like we hit a peak at some point, like maybe, I don't know, like 5, 10 years ago. I mean, that's a random number, but like it just got to the point now. It's like, okay, well, now we can't stop all this innovation, and
Mm-hmm.
we're just creating more problems than we're solving. If you ask me, like things like the Apple Pro headset, I'm like,
That
what?
dude, that
Who's
was
gonna buy that? Who's gonna wear that around in real life? Like, you think
yeah.
people are actually gonna do that one day? Does Apple really think that? Like, I
I
don't know.
kind of
Apple
want to
doesn't
try it.
miss, but I want to
I
try
want to
it.
try it.
But I
But
wanna. I don't want to buy
yeah.
it. You know, like I would. I don't want to use
Mm-hmm.
that regularly.
About Apple and the Pro headset announcement. This is
Hmm.
tangentially related. I put like I don't know like 300 something dollars into like calls on Apple
Hmm.
um in like 2 weeks before WWDC, the Worldwide Developer Conference. And like that was like a really good investment because I had
Hmm.
heard rumors about the headset announcement, and like that was
Gotcha.
going fantastic. It was like, up to the
Hmm.
start of the WWDC. We're like an hour into it. They're gonna announce the headset next. I've made like 2 grand off of this $300 I put in. Like, this is the best thing
Damn.
ever. And then 5 minutes before they announce it, the stock price of Apple plummets
Ah,
for
classic.
no
Damn.
reason. For no
Just
reason
a
at all. And
huge
it's
sell,
like
or who
it
knows?
was crazy. It was like the big announcement hadn't happened yet, and then the announcement did happen, and the stock price kept plummeting, and it wiped out my
Hmm.
gains on that call like entirely.
Damn.
But it
That's
was just
rough.
like
Yeah.
how does that happen? I guess it just got way too much hype around it. But that
Yeah.
was like one of the most infuriating things to ever happen to me. It ruined my day. Like, I was
Yeah,
like,
no, that sucks even more sometimes than losing money because it's like I
yeah,
literally made a profit. I could have cashed it, like that type of vibe.
yeah,
But I think
yeah.
it's one of those situations where sometimes they say like buy the hype, sell the news. Like just going in, yeah, everybody's hyping it up, and then when it actually happens, it's like, all right, well, we already bought in, so now it's time. Everybody's just like getting out at the same
But
time
like
type
that
of thing.
that's the thing. The news didn't even happen. Like, that was the
Yeah, it was like
most
right
upsetting
before.
part.
That is weird.
Yeah, it was like the news hadn't even dropped, and it was like like the
Hmm.
mass sell off, and I was just like, this is crazy. I ended up making, I
Yeah,
think, $1.50 off of
pretty
that
much you
call.
broke even when you could have made
Yeah,
like a couple grand. Damn, that's
yeah,
crazy.
and that was really upsetting. Because it dropped
Hmm.
so quickly, and I had to like oh man, but like, what if this goes back up? And it
Hmm.
didn't. And it
Yeah,
was
the
just,
classic like, what should I do
yeah.
here? Should I hold or do I
Mm-hmm.
sell? I mean, obviously, I never think that with GameStop. I just think hold.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
yeah, no,
hold 100%.
given. But yeah, I actually have been considering getting back into options a little bit. But the only thing I want to do right now is sell puts. Like I think I was
Yeah.
telling you a little bit about that. Like I really want to sell
Yeah.
puts and then maybe sell calls also, doing like the wheel strategy. And I
Mm-hmm.
thought maybe to do that on GameStop. But I don't know because at the same time, I already have a lot in GameStop, and at the same time though, if I'm gonna do this strategy of selling puts, generally, and the wheel, you generally need to be bullish on the company because you can't just do it for any name. And
Mm-hmm.
GameStop's a good name to do it with, in my opinion, because there's high premiums, and when I'm the option seller, like that's way more beneficial to me because just generally there's more volatility. It's a liquid, so that's something I've been kind of thinking about. And then as I build up, then maybe mess around selling some puts and some other names that I think are interesting and maybe not like undervalued, or maybe not something I want to be invested in the long term. But I think okay, like this is below what I think to be a fair price point. And the reason I especially want to sell puts is because when you're selling a put, you're securing cash. So your underlying cash is actually earning like the interest rate. So if I have an infidelity, Fidelity's money market account earns me 4.75% or something like that per year, which is really nice. So if I'm selling a $10 call, right, like once a month for a whole year, that means I need $1,000 underlying each time I'm selling it, but I'm going to earn 4.75% on that underlying thousand, and then ideally also earn the premiums I'm selling because the stock might be at, because I'm selling the $10 put, then the stock might be at $15, and I'm selling a put way below, saying it's like going to stay above, that kind of thing. So I'm trying to basically capture like the interest rate and then also like make like smaller trades because
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to. I don't know. For me, the volatility, like, it's unless I'm like totally locked into trading, I feel like I can't like stomach it right now, or it'll like get in my
Yeah.
head, or like I don't know, because a lot of it I feel like for me when I was trying to trade, it's like so much mental
Oh, it
like
is.
strength and like focus. And I'm not saying I'm a weak-minded fool, but you know what I mean. But it's I just feel like I've come to know thyself, and I'm like I just have to like dabble in things and then really
Yeah.
really get the ball rolling. But
Yeah.
it's
I
kind of
want to
some of my
specify
thoughts on it. Mhm.
not financial advice. Okay. Nothing I'm
Never on
about to
this
say is
channel.
financial advice. Okay. This is only my opinion. And my experience that I have had. Is that fair enough to say? Don't sue
I
me.
think it's fair. I think it's
Okay.
acceptable,
So,
unless someone clips it
what
right here.
yeah. So what I did what I have done with my options trading is I just kind of like scan for like headlines about a company. Like this last week,
Mhm.
I should have put more into it than I did, but I bought a put against UPS
Mhm.
because they had their Teamsters went out and organized a strike against
Gotcha.
against UPS. And as a result, their stock price went down a lot, and I made
Mhm.
like $130.
Nice.
Like not a whole lot, but I mean any profit's good.
Of
Um,
course.
so it's just like that's kind of like what I do is like I notice
Mhm.
if a company something bad is going to happen. You know, like if this company's going through something, is it unethical? I I don't
Mhm.
know.
I
I
don't
don't really
honestly, I
know.
don't think so. I think you're
I
more
don't
so
think.
like keeping up with the market and then taking
Yeah,
action on what's happening. You're not like,
I'm not.
yeah, I'm encouraging this like by putting
Yeah,
my money here. Like,
I'm not going out on Twitter and saying this company needs to fail. You know, I'm just
yeah,
saying
yeah,
like this
exactly.
company is going to experience some hard times, so I
hmm
might as well, you know,
Right,
profit
the
off of
way I
that.
see what's happening. Yeah, yeah, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
like I'm not gonna encourage the hard times. I don't think it's good. You know,
hmm
if I could do that with calls, then I would. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
just as
Whatever way
much.
it's going, it's going. It's like the
Yeah,
way she goes,
like
right? Sometimes she goes, sometimes she doesn't.
exactly. It felt much better. It feels much better to do that with bank stocks. For
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, when they're going down.
When they're going down, because it's like, yeah, fuck the banks. Sorry, screw the
No,
banks.
now you're gonna beep.
But
Uh,
yeah, but yeah, I mean that's what I have done in the past, and I believe that's what I'm going to continue doing. But I have to look
mhm.
more into selling options because I don't know anything about that.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting because when you initially think of it, you think, oh, like that could be risky. Like, what if it just goes way up? But if you're doing it always like covered, like either covered by
Hmm.
cash, like the put, it'd be covered by like the price of the put minus, or you have the actual 100 underlying shares. So if the call executes, then you would give the 100 shares away. But
Yeah.
ideally, you would buy the shares and then sell the calls out of the money. So, like, let's say I bought 100 shares of GameStop at $23. It would cost me like $2,300. And then if I sold the $30 call, I might only get like a dollar of premium, which would be like $100. But if it closes at $35, I'm gonna sell those shares to that person at $30 a piece. So they're gonna be up $5 a share, and I'm gonna miss out on $5 of profit. But I'm gonna have captured the premium and the sell at 30. So I'll still have a
Right.
profit. So like you s-
Right.
you can kind of like alter it like based on the premium you're choosing. That's why I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah. I mean I told you I a while ago, a few times ago, I was on. I told you about the horror story of the guy who was um I think he was selling calls
hmm
on Silicon Valley, and they were
hmm
naked, and he all of them I think I can't remember if he was selling or if he had them, and they were just naked, but when the stock price on Silicon Valley Bank dropped to nothing, all of his options got exercised, and it drained his bank account. Like he
hmm
lost
That's
like
crazy.
500 grand in like 10 seconds. His account was just gone. And that was insane to hear. That was like my first
hmm
experience with options was reading
So
that
you're like,
story.
ah, I
And I
don't
was
know
like,
about this. Yeah.
this is fucking horrifying. But
Yeah. No, there's definitely
I only
stories of that. Yeah.
yeah, I only do long calls and long puts. But
Gotcha.
you know, because I mean that's just kind of what makes the most sense to me.
hmm
Is just like if I'm gonna be doing like short term kind of stuff. Like I don't know. I'm not gonna do cash secured calls or anything like that
Hmm.
because I'm just looking like at this time frames, and it's like,
Gotcha,
oh, by the end of the
gotcha.
week I think it's gonna
And
go up, sort
and
of thing.
events, yeah. No, that makes
Yeah, and
sense.
planning around that. But I'll have to look into
Mhm,
selling options. I have to do my research
mhm.
into that. It might
Yeah,
be a
selling
worthwhile.
options definitely I would say is like a longer term thing, or you're kind of like identifying a name and then you kind of look at the options chain. And I feel like like your strategy right now, it probably wouldn't fit as much. But if there's something like, oh, like
Mm-hmm.
Intel maybe might be something you want to sell plugs. Like I kind of think things are going to shift in Intel's favor. Then if you're selling the put underlying, you would also be
Mm-hmm.
collecting premium steadily. Then collecting the interest, things like that. Also, I do want to quickly clarify that I would never sell calls on GameStop, because then that would limit like my like upside, because then I would be
Mm-hmm.
risking my shares. So if I was
Yeah.
gonna do like a trade on GameStop, ideally I just want to sell puts, and then if I exercise, it's like, oh, I guess I have 100 more shares, but at the same time, I'm not in a position where I'm buying 100 shares of GameStop, in chunks.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I'm acquiring GameStop, I'm buying like a couple shares here and there. Just have to prevent, if someone's going to clip like, oh, Tetron sells calls on GameStop, he's bearish. No, no, no. So, and that's also why like I want to be, fully aware of something before I'm getting into it. So that's why I'm kind of like, still feeling things out. And really, like Bitcoin's kind of caught my attention more. Of course, and I still love GameStop. I know I was talking about it a little
Mm-hmm.
bit in the beginning, but options, I keep my eye on it. And I definitely think in the future, I could also see myself, ideally when I have a lot of money and I'm managing my money and all that, like I could actually see myself using options as like a hedge in
Mm-hmm.
certain scenarios, things like that too. So that's some of the stuff I think about. And I think it's also, you just got to be knowledgeable on things. Not because I'm not trading options doesn't mean I won't talk about it right now or discuss it or kind of view it. So
Mm-hmm.
just the more you know, right? I feel like that's really important in finance and money and everything. Like I really try to keep up with like finance news as a whole, like different companies besides GameStop, just to also
Yeah.
see like how do other companies do things, other perspectives. And also, I don't think I'll be mainly investing in GameStop forever. I think at some point or another, start to get into other things. Like I'm already interested a little bit in Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then obviously I have the S&P 500 because it's the S&P 500, right? So that's for my like
Mm-hmm.
401k. So just slowly growing a little by little, but.
This message in chat, the
Mhm,
agricultural options, is that if that's about what I think it is, didn't
mhm.
they ban options trading on like onions because somebody like
Let's see.
like fucked up the market so much, sorry, screwed up the market
No,
so
you're
much that
kidding.
it destroyed like onions became super valuable. Like it was one guy who owned all of them, and he
That's
was
actually
like
pretty funny though.
he controlled the supply so he could like do his options and like he I can't remember
Let's
what he
see.
did, but like he would what he would do was like cut off supply to stores and like
Mhm.
trade options. So he would like buy calls on onions and cut off the supply. So he would manipulate the market so he had
That's
infinite,
so weird, but
yeah,
hilarious.
infinite profit. And they banned options trading on onions, and I'm pretty sure that's still a thing. Like or like futures trading on
Aggregation
onions. I thought
options.
it wasn't options, it was futures.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'll have to look into that more. That's crazy. That's pretty
Yeah,
funny. Someone started spoofing it.
Onion Futures Act. The Onion Futures Act is a United States law banning the futures contracts, trading of futures contracts on onions, as well as motion picture box office receipts. Like, this is crazy. This happened
That is so weird.
in 1955. Two onion traders on the onion futures market cornered the onion futures market on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. They cornered the market by controlling like the entirety of like the onion market and then like buying futures and then like decreasing the supply so that like they would make infinite profit, and as a result onions future trading has been banned since 1958.
What a time to be alive. The onions futures band days.
Yeah, dude.
Imagine
I
like
want
bringing
to
that in to like vote too. Like, all right, what are we talking? What are we voting on today? The banning of
banning.
onion futures.
Yeah, like that's kind of I want to, dude, like carrots are fine, but like garlic you can trade futures on that, but specifically onions, like no onion futures and
Dude,
no box
crazy.
office receipts. Like what does that even
Yeah,
mean?
that is so like Specific. Is that why when you buy like a ticket to something, it's like, what does it say? Not available or not for resale or something like that, or
Dude,
has
like,
no resale value? Like,
yeah, like,
is that why
dude,
that's there? Because of the Onion
who is
ads?
trading futures of tickets of off like of movie theater
Yeah.
tickets? Like,
Oh, Ticketmaster is there. No, I'm just
yeah,
kidding.
right. That's
Ticketmaster's is finessing, in
maybe
their own
maybe
way.
that's what it is. Maybe it's like going to concerts. You can't trade futures on that because there's so many companies that just buy all the tickets. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah,
That's
that's
funny.
a whole thing. That's I don't even kind of understand it, kind of don't, but
Yeah.
crazy,
Just
man. Yeah,
imagine cornering a market so hard they ban futures trading of that commodity.
dude, that'd be
Like,
nuts.
that's
They're gonna do that for
crazy, dude.
GameStop one day. They're just gonna
Hmm.
ban
Oh yeah.
ban GameStop stock. Sorry, just can't trade
Yeah.
it anymore. Why? You just
Specifically
can't.
GameStop. Yeah.
Nah, that'd be terrible. That'd be crazy. But
I mean, they might.
yeah, I mean, that's the thing with computer share for me. Like, what I think potentially is, if there's a situation where brokerages, oh, you can't sell a share, you can't move your share here. Although ideally, I don't plan to sell GameStop, but when it gets to a
Hmm.
certain insane level, there's a point, maybe I start taking off a little bit. But ideally, what I've started to think over time, and it used to be more so to me that it would be a spot where the stock would just explode, right? It'd be another January 2021 type of event. Whereas now I think of it more like a steady rise up,
Yeah.
and it also wouldn't create any like pausing of the brokers and all that stuff because it's just companies just buying back shares over time. And then they hopefully start to do dividends because then dividends also just incentivize to continue holding because if the company's going to keep buying back their shares, then issuing
Right.
dividends to current shareholders, if I know I'm getting a set payment and I like what the company's doing, I still wouldn't have to sell ideally. Where in the beginning, it became like, oh, I have to make sure I can capture when things are getting insane. That's why I want computer share. So, not that I don't
Right.
think computer share is still relevant because I still want it like directly registered to my name, but I feel like that's like a perspective that's changed a little bit, or that's why it's not as I don't want to say like not as important to DRS or DRS is still like a huge thing in itself, but regardless, you'll still kind of be good. But
Hey, Noodle. Noodle's
is that
one
a
of my
homie?
moderators.
Oh,
Yeah, he's
nice, nice. What up,
one of my
Noodle? Thanks
moderators
for
on
stopping
Twitch.
in.
Welcome in. But yeah, you don't think there's going to be another short squeeze with
Mhm.
you don't think there's going to be another squeeze with GameStop?
So I think it will, but not all at once. Like, I think it'll just be drawn out type of thing. Like if you look at Tesla's chart when they started just really starting to turn a profit and starting to expand into other factories, and they were entering the S&P. Upon
Mm-hmm.
entering and like kind of going into entry, there's a lot of short sellers closing, and I think it'll just be on a much bigger scale because I personally think GameStop's a lot more shorted than Tesla was, and also Tesla was probably misreported at that time as well, right? So because of that misreporting, but we don't know, right? That's the thing. We don't truly know what a company's exact short interest is at any moment in time. So how much of Tesla's public short interest was actually the whole short interest? There definitely was some underlying bets against it because Tesla used to be, I don't want to say the GameStop Wall Street, but just like, oh, Tesla, oh, it's never going to work. Oh, yeah, yeah. Then obviously the stock price looks completely different. And then when you're in the S&P, like to me, it's game over because it's just inevitable that so many funds buy. So I think
Mm-hmm.
also with the nature of it and the possibility that brokers can just stop buying, right? It's almost better to me that it's just a long drawn out thing. Cause then also I don't think, oh, let me sell. Oh, this is the peak right here. I think of it as like, there's going to be more and more happening with this company and I'll keep earning my dividend. So
Right.
but I think, the squeeze is still like part of it, but I don't think it's
Mm-hmm.
going to be like, oh, well, that's exactly where it is. But there might be a great earnings report, and then that causes like a short term squeeze. But I think it'll just be up. Like, Roaring Kitty, I don't know if you saw the clip. It's like people asked, or it was like a Reddit comment. They asked him, like, how high do you think GameStop can go? He's like, up or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. So what do you think
Mhm.
like separates? This is totally like out of left field, but you brought up
Mhm.
Tesla. Like we see a lot of like Rivian and the other one, forgot the name of it. Um,
Um, I don't know. There's a couple
what's
out
the
there, but
yeah? There's
Lucid,
Rivian. There's the other one.
Lucid,
Lucid. Yeah, Lucid.
gotcha.
What do you think separates them from Tesla? Because there's a lot of the same people are saying a lot of the same things they did about Tesla with regards to Rivian and Lucid.
Hmm.
It's like, what do you think separates them? I don't know. I personally, I'm not sure. I mean, they obviously don't have Elon Musk at the head of the company.
Yeah.
And the cars themselves are really expensive, but so was the Model S, and the
Hmm.
Roadster back when they were first coming out. Um, and I mean, like the Rivian stock has been dropping significantly, ever
Hmm.
since it had its IPO. And I'm not sure about Lucid. I haven't really looked much into Lucid.
I think they've been falling too, honestly.
Yeah. And it's well, somebody just said dissociate the company from the stock price, but you can't really do that when it comes to like Lucid or Rivian.
Hmm.
Um, much like Tesla and its stock price. Like, do you think with I don't know how into the electric car market you are, but like, do you think that um, Rivian will be able to come back? Because like I personally
Hmm.
and the general outlook on Rivian, which doesn't necessarily correlate to its future, is that it won't and that it's kind of destined to fail, even though it
Hmm.
has this, the contracts with Amazon and Blue Origin and stuff like that. Like
Hmm.
it's still people feel like it's destined to just like collapse. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's not like 100%, but I do think a lot of companies are really behind Tesla. Like Tesla's advantage is that they were the first to the market, and now they've really been able to scale up and just learn a lot over time and condense operations, all those different things. Whereas I feel like these other companies, they have a lot more they need to figure out and just build in terms of the factories and research and development. So there's a lot of costs associated. And because Tesla is so far ahead now, and the reason I actually have come to know a lot about Tesla is because my coworker I've become friends with. He's a huge Tesla investor, loves Tesla. He loves Tesla the way I love GameStop, pretty much. So he's explained to me a lot and how they're doing a lot of different things, such as making the parts all for one, like whereas it might have been three parts for one section, that section
Mm-hmm.
is now just one part. So really just simplifying and then automating, and then the production line just continues to get smarter. And every time they build a factory, they can build it even more efficient than the previous time. So hearing all that actually kind of made me more bearish on some of these other names. And then
Mm-hmm.
seeing GM and Ford partnering with Tesla's network,
Yeah.
that I don't think they wanted to do that, honestly. I feel like they kinda had to because they're just so far behind, and that's kinda led me to the thought process of, "Wow, it's gonna be really hard for these other names to break out." But I don't think it's
Yeah.
impossible because, again, nobody thought Tesla could succeed, right? So, I think they're gonna need, like, somebody strong really leading things, like, whatever company it is, whether it's, like,
Mm-hmm.
Lucid or Rivian.
Mm-hmm.
But then also, they're gonna need the interest because people wanted to buy Teslas. People were on the wait list, and
Yeah.
Elon was, "Oh, it's gonna be ready by this date," and be ready like a year later, and people still wanted
Yeah.
it. So if it has that aspect, I think there's still possibility there. But also, we are now in a high interest rate environment, so unless they can quickly start, turning a profit or keeping a strong balance sheet,
Mm-hmm.
those are kind of some possible challenges. I feel like.
Yeah. I mean, what I think personally, like what I think Rivian could start to go up if it was able to in Lucid if they're able to make an electric car that looks like a Tesla but costs as much as a Camry. And like I don't know if
Hmm.
that's even possible like currently with
Yeah.
how technology looks nowadays, but like the first company to do that is the company that it becomes worth huge amounts of money. If they can release a reliable car that looks like a Tesla and costs as much as a Camry, like, like
Hmm.
the 20, 30 grand car that is like all electric and has a decent battery. But I don't know if Rivian is able to do that. I personally don't even know what their current cars look like. I mean, I've seen them, but I don't know what their
Hmm.
specs are. I know they cost like six figures at the lowest, which is
Yeah, still
insane.
pricey right now.
Yeah, and I mean Tesla has the Model 3, which I think is like
Hmm.
35 or 40,000 at the lowest,
About
which
that, yeah.
that's as much as like a around. I have a Tacoma. It's about the same as
Hmm.
what my Tacoma's worth. Um,
Gotcha.
which like it's still it's like not like I mean that's a decent price for a car.
Hmm.
That's not like a super high or anything. Um, but I mean I don't know. I feel like if you're like able to go lower than that,
Hmm.
then
Becomes
you're
more
gonna be able
attractive to
to
the
uh,
average.
yeah, because like the biggest thing
Hmm.
is that like sure you have like savings if you're not spending money on gas, but the appeal of like of okay, I should say the reason why people
Hmm.
don't want to buy an electric car, the appeal of gas cars is because they're just so much cheaper,
Hmm.
and electric cars just aren't, and that's why there's so much pushback. Like people are like, you know, you see I hate to bring politics back into this,
Hmm.
but you
I
see
got
like the
no
Biden
worries.
administration saying, "Oh, gas is too expensive. Just buy an electric car." It's like we can't because they're so expensive.
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
not
it's like
yet at least.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can't afford it. So it's like the first company that is able to make one that you can afford is the
Hmm.
company, the EV company that's able to take off. And I don't know if Lucid's able to do that or Rivian,
Hmm. No, I think
but
that's definitely a good point because people, I think, have interest in EVs in general, and then also
hmm
just whether it's just push towards like saving the environment more, or just just interest in the type of car, and just the evolving parts of things, right? And maybe you don't want a Tesla, you want to shop elsewhere. You're right. There's
hmm
not really another like affordable option, and I think it's Lucid that's going the route of like, or maybe it was Rivian you said where they like put out the high end car. They're going to kind of try and do with Tesla. They make it a high end product, then a medium, and then
yeah,
try to make it like for the average person. And I could see Tesla maybe even one day coming out with a cheaper car because of
yeah,
their way they're scaling up, and they could afford to take the risk. That's the big problem now, like really just the funding. And
hmm
then seeing in the chat here, so like literal shout out to thanks for being here. They had to recall all their vehicles. That's crazy. I didn't even know that, but
Rivian or I know
I think
Tesla has
Rivian.
had
Um,
Tesla's had
mhm.
issues. The thing that's really cool about Tesla is I don't think they've had a recall. But if there's an issue with like your car and you have a Tesla, that you just call and they'll bring a service truck out and they'll fix it in your driveway for free, which
Yeah,
I think
that's pretty
is
crazy. It's very
really
innovative
cool.
too.
I mean I've been looking at trading in my truck for a Tesla. It's something I have a Cybertruck on order that'll come out by the time I
Hmm.
retire. So,
No, not.
but you know, because they keep pushing that back. I just thought it looked really cool when it released.
Hmm.
But I've been looking at Teslas to like as a potential car to go for,
Hmm.
because I need
Like in
something
the
that's
future.
smaller. Yeah, I
Oh,
need because like
gotcha.
my Tacoma is really large. And I'm
Makes
living in
sense.
Miami now, and it's the parking spaces are just way too small to accommodate.
Yeah, it's a pain
Um,
in the ass. Yeah,
yeah. So I need something smaller, and that's where like I would be looking at a Model 3 or something, or something that
yeah.
has like
Hmm.
autonomous driving. That's a really cool thing with safety features. So if there is a car company that's able to capture that safety features and stuff like that, not necessarily
Hmm.
autonomous driving, because that's kind of proprietary to Tesla.
Yeah.
That's their big thing, and Elon Musk is adamant that that's something that people aren't really realizing the value of. Um, maybe something like Amazon, if they bought Rivian, then Amazon would be able
Hmm.
to like implement their own like machine learning program. I
Yeah.
feel like Amazon would probably be the only company that's able to do that because they already
Hmm.
have the autonomous drone vehicles in their manufacturing and shipping facilities and stuff like that.
Hmm.
So if
And
they're
they're
able
just
to,
so large, like, and they have a
yeah,
lot of spending
such
capability,
a
and
huge like cloud, like
I see what you're
Amazon
saying. Yeah.
Web Services and stuff, they could probably be able to do if they purchased Rivian. But you know, if there's someone, if a company is able to do that and make cars that have the features of a Tesla at a lower price, you know, like maybe not all the features, but like at least like the safety features, the quality and
Hmm.
reliability at a lower price, then yeah. But
Yeah. Well, let's see if someone gets there, because there's definitely a lot of like logistics with that. But you're right. If a big company like Amazon comes in, takes a company over like Rivian, then all of a sudden
hmm
they have a lot of capabilities to do a lot of different things that could be implemented just simply because it's all under one roof now. Then you could go open up a huge manufacturing facility, could potentially
hmm
cut some costs, like all those different things. So it'll be interesting to
yeah,
see if that happens. And I think if Tesla continues to pull ahead in just the EV market, because to me they just seem like they're the best spot.
yeah,
And also saw a little earlier in the chat. I briefly saw someone said like basically like their user data is a huge part
Yeah.
of things,
Yeah,
and I think
that's
that's
true.
absolutely right. That's a great point because that's also my friend that I talked about Tesla. That's one of his points on. He's like their data is huge and like they're just building it's more than a car company. It's a giant network of data
Mhm.
and like the charging station, like all of it. And the cars also like only get smarter because the more people drive them, the more data they have. So it's from the start been structured to scale. When I learned that oh wait, they all get smarter. Like the whole
Mhm.
every single Tesla
Yeah.
gets smarter when one Tesla drives down the road more times. I'm like that's
Yeah.
crazy. Like
Yeah, and
that's
it's exponential intelligence with their machine learning, which is really crazy. And it's
hmm
crazy that like that they're the first company to really implement machine learning into an everyday
yeah.
application.
I think
Um,
you're absolutely right.
which
Yeah,
is
that's the big game
really cool,
changer.
really neat. That's why Tesla's really appealing to me. I got like I do my options trading on. Go
hmm
ahead, hate me for it, but I use Robinhood for my options trading.
Ah,
I know. Ah, my God, I use Robinhood, but it's like I can just do it on my phone, and I'm like in
yeah,
class,
I know what you're
make an
saying. Easy
options trade.
access. I have a couple
So
friends that
much
say the same
easier.
thing. They're like, "Bro, it's
It's
just the
just,
easiest thing to do, though." I'm like,
it's
"Oh,
like
okay."
it's so easy to do options. Like it's so easy to do options. I use Fidelity for stocks and stuff.
hmm
But yeah, so I got like $5 of Tesla because I put money into my Robinhood account to like
hmm
buy um the options or whatever. And so I have like $5 worth of Tesla in my Robinhood account like for free, and
Nice.
I've been making like a decent amount of money off of it. I don't own any other
Mhm.
Tesla, and I'm like, well, shit,
It's
maybe
just
I should
accumulating. Like,
buy.
all right.
Yeah, maybe I should buy it because like I've made like um I don't know, I made like $8 in profit off
hmm
of the free $5. I'm like
Damn,
that's
I mean, can't go wrong on that.
like maybe I need to start buying the Tesla the stock.
hmm
I don't know. I'm thinking like I'm gonna start looking at Tesla as an
hmm
investment.
I mean, they're
Because
scaling huge and they're not going
yeah,
anywhere.
yeah, that's true. Not financial advice.
Of course not. Never on this show.
In my opinion, Tesla looks like a nice company. Um,
Well, if Jim
like
Cramer says it's going down, then we'll buy it.
yeah,
So pretty much
exactly.
whatever he says the
So
opposite of, we'll do. So
exactly. If I had his sound pad right now, the buy.
that would be great. Yeah, I should get that. Should be the next thing I get for the
Yeah,
stream. So
you have the board, right?
yeah, I was gonna say it's
Yeah,
a little sneak peek, guys. I got a little board
yeah,
coming soon. Shout out to my girlfriend for getting this for me. Little
yeah,
birthday gift, a little early birthday gift. So getting
yeah.
ready.
So, a happy birthday, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
I
Yeah, it's
didn't know when
actually
your birthday
tomorrow.
was.
So yeah,
Oh,
thank you.
happy early
Appreciate it.
birthday.
Yeah, I kind of
Um,
forgot at the time. Like, oh shit, tomorrow's my birthday because I saw the date. I'm like, oh wait a minute.
yeah, man, happy birthday.
Thank you, thank
Um,
you. Yeah, heading into the
you should,
Jordan year.
yeah,
Pretty
you
crazy.
should, yeah, that is. Um, you should get the sound pad though. The buttons on the
hmm
that would be
That would be
great.
good. I mean, honestly, and then especially if we can customize it, like
Yeah,
just add fun
buy.
things. And I don't know, my
Hmm.
brother's pretty good with that stuff. I could probably ask him. Like, if I got something, he could probably like help me out with it.
Yeah,
Cause
like a stream deck or something. You could get
hmm
easily just line it up and press the buttons to
yeah,
do a like Mad Money parody or something.
yeah, dude,
That'd
I
be
was
fire to
thinking
do.
that. Like, I was talking to my brother about something. We should do like some like finance show or something, or I don't know, like the this is like not exactly what I have in mind or how we would do it, but the Pat McAfee show, that guy,
I'm not familiar. Oh, are you talking about
the,
like the?
the football player, he used to be a punter, and now he's on like
No,
YouTube show, and he just signed with like
no.
ESPN.
Let me see.
Um, yeah, I don't know, he just talks about like he's a former football player, and they mostly talk football, but it kind of turned into just a sports show, and then also they just talk about random stuff, and it's just a three
Right.
hour live stream
Okay.
every day. But
Yeah, yeah,
basically,
yeah.
like that he just started that with a group of guys. Like it's not like now they're signing with ESPN and they're going to stream it on ESPN's YouTube and ESPN Plus, ESPN the channel, something like that. And a lot of people are
Yeah.
saying like, "Oh, he's sold out," because he went with ESPN, and we like you as an independent creator because now there's going to be potential limitations. And he's like, "Oh, there's not going to be limitations." But point is, he built his whole thing, right? That's a whole conversation in itself. But he built his own thing, and like I just think that's a really cool concept. That'd be so cool to do. And the more and more you see like media personalities, I guess you could say, are all starting to do their own thing, and the way things are evolving, it seems like it really is power the individual to like you don't need to go to a TV network to have a show. You know what I mean? Not that I necessarily want to do like a TV show, but you can set up your own thing in any which way, which I find just interesting that there's like a really low barrier to entry.
Yeah.
So I've been,
Yeah, it's
kind of
crazy.
thinking about
You
that a
should
lot lately, and like,
you should start making like highlight clips of different parts
hmm
of your show and then uploading that as like shorts or as
oh yeah,
standalone
shorts.
like
That's a good
3-minute
idea.
videos. I think that would
Yeah.
be because like that's something that I've noticed I really enjoy watching is like
hmm
segments of podcasts. Like I was watching because I Trash Taste podcast. It's got a few.
hmm
It's like a it's they don't.
I don't
It's
think
not
so,
like live
but
streamed or anything. It's just like
hmm
recorded.
okay.
Yeah, so like they have people on. That was just one that I was seeing in my recommendations. And they had Niall Red who does like chemistry content and stuff.
hmm
He's but I saw him on this podcast. I was like, oh, okay, this kind of has people I enjoy, and it's like a
hmm
5-minute clip of a segment that sounds interesting, so I'll just watch it. And
Gotcha.
it's I think like if you start doing that stuff, like that's
hmm
a pretty good way to start moving forward.
Yeah, and just start scaling up.
Yeah. Include
Yeah,
this as a clip.
there we go.
Talking
Yeah,
about making a clip.
Nathan from Florida teaches Tetron how to grow his channel. That could be a clip.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then
exactly.
like have me like cut off like every time I finish a sentence, splice it to the next sentence. So it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
like with that editing, and then
yeah, yeah,
include
yeah.
some like some hype beast music and some camera shake
Yeah, exactly.
and then
Like,
have it loop like perfectly. And then
yeah,
just
exactly.
bro, it'd be perfect.
That's the wave, right? Some people do that where they make the end of the
Mhm.
short like loop to the start, and then all of a sudden you're
Yeah.
watching again. You're like, oh shit, I already saw this. But now
Yeah.
you've made the
Yeah.
retention rate, like you hack the algo. Like I find that really
Yeah.
interesting that people do. But
Yeah, man.
yeah, my
Go
brother's
for it.
really nice with the editing and stuff. And like he definitely helps me out here and there. And the only thing is like I'm not gonna be like, bro, go edit this stream for me. Go edit this. Go do that. Like, he's not my employee. You know what I mean? And this isn't
Yeah,
his
yeah, yeah.
channel, also. So like, I was trying to think of a way that we can like get him involved more, so we could. I mean, all right, he has his own thing. We always collab. I don't know. So because he's really nice with the edits and stuff, and like, I
Mhm.
feel like I could be, I don't know, doing the show with him, or I don't even know. So all kinds of ideas. But also, I could just not be a bum, and I could just put in more effort and get better at editing because I
Yeah.
have like some simple editing skills, but again, I just don't have like a
Mhm.
setup, and I know this is still like. Don't get me wrong. I'm still making excuses right now. I understand that.
Mhm.
Like I am making excuses, but I don't have a setup, and I'm also just trying to figure out a lot of other things in my life. And it's not like my top priority. But then also, it's why I'm saying this too. I'm like analyzing it in real time. This is my top priority. I want to do this YouTube shit. I want to grow. So at the same time, if I don't just put these excuses aside and start, it's just gonna prolong things because I obviously have something going here, and it's one of those things. Like, and I'm sure you kind of feel the same. Where really, you come to realize over time, it is really how much time you put in and how much effort
Yeah.
you spend, and it correlates. Like, if I was doing this like 5 hours every single day, I'd be fucking exhausted. But I'd probably be way bigger by now,
Mhm.
stuff like that. So it's like I try and remind myself, I'm like, I know I can be bigger. I know I can be better. But it's also
Yeah.
the sense of like I'm my own boss here. There's nobody like saying you have to do this and like I want to, but I don't know, I guess I'm just saying like, challenges of a creator or challenges of like,
Yeah.
the
I mean,
scaling, and I'm glad
that's
we're
the
having this
thing.
convo because I want to remember this and be like, I'm said I'm gonna do this. Like I know I can do this.
Yeah.
Nathan's giving me the tips. Like
Yeah. Do it, man. Make those YouTube shorts. Make your
exactly. Yeah.
podcast official.
Yeah,
Um
that's the thing too. I gotta have like yeah, just like maybe a guest a week or something like that. That of course
yeah.
you could be a reoccurring guest, something like
Yeah.
that. So I'll let you know
I
how
was
it's
here.
all
I
planned
was here
out.
at the start.
An OG, clip it, clip it.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I'm
But-
totally here for you
mhm,
making this podcast like a consistent thing, making it like
mhm.
growing it, making it an official. You get your own set your own
Yeah,
studio.
I think that'd be the coolest thing ever. Like, and the best
Yeah,
part
yeah.
is you can do whatever you want in this day and age. Like,
Mhm.
do whatever you want in the sense like I can make a segment where I just shoot a hockey, like, because I love hockey. Like, I'm just gonna shoot a puck and like whatever, I'll make the net. Like wherever it lands, I'm gonna do this, or I don't know. Like you could do
Yeah,
anything,
yeah.
and like
That sounds awesome.
it just seems like cool to like have your own like I don't know. Like I never thought of myself as like doing like TV or like
Hmm.
a show, but like I don't know, I just think the concept of like how anybody could do it now is just such a cool thing. And then you bring somebody on, and they're like, oh well, what if we just did this? And you're like, holy shit, I didn't even think of it like that. Like
Yeah.
and just go. So
Yeah.
we'll see what
Yeah, I mean,
happens.
that's like I've never really thought about like I've never because like I stream as well,
Hmm.
and most of my streams I've
Oh, yeah,
kind of
go
not
follow him on Twitch
yeah follow me on
at
Twitch
Isolation
Isolation
Streams.
Streams, and like most of my streams have followed the same format since I started like in 2017, like a long time ago,
Hmm.
where it's just the classic sit at table play video games, and it's like that's kind of what I have been doing, but I want to expand that. I
Hmm.
want to start doing like I want to like do like what you were saying, like kind of like have a set and like show and segments and stuff like that, and
Hmm.
kind of like break from the mold and start trying other things, and like start uploading clips to YouTube because that's something I don't do.
Hmm.
um
Gotcha.
so yeah, I definitely have. I understand what you're saying when you say you have that drive. It's just like taking the first step. Like that's
Hmm.
the most difficult part is just getting started.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Because like where you want to go, but like
Hmm.
you also know you're the only one that's gonna get you there. So you're like, fuck, I
Yeah,
gotta start.
it's
Oh,
like
I have to
it's
do
like
this. Oh yeah.
it's like going to the gym. It's like if you've
Hmm.
ever started going to the gym, it's like it's like you think it's like, oh man, I don't want to do this. Whether it's like you're
Hmm.
like it's like I don't want to go over there, or like I want
Hmm.
to like see the results, but like I don't want to go over there. I don't want to have to like
Yeah, like get
watch my
dressed
like
and
count my get
drive and
dressed, drive, like even count my calories. It's like, oh, maybe I'm embarrassed to go to the gym or whatever, but it's like all that stuff is just like you just got to look past it. Like you got to just like, oh,
hmm.
you don't want to put in the effort. You just have to like put that out of your mind and just take the first step, and then like once you do, it's so much easier from there.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. And I'm gonna have to watch this back now and remember we said this. So for both of us.
Yeah, exactly.
But
Exactly.
yeah, and then
Yeah. Note to
t-
future me.
yes, exactly. Note to future us.
Yeah, note to future us.
Oh yeah, this is. Let's see, Scott. Yeah, maybe one day, man. I'll have to hit you up on the side. We'll have to chat a little bit, and then maybe we can organize something. Cause yeah, I would love to start doing more guests. I mean, I see trying to catch an invite to Tetron live. I think we could make it happen. You'll have to just message me, man. And then Cosmic Lightning War. I feel like I got to talk to him at some point too. That's another GME dude. I don't know if you've ever seen him, but he also does
Me?
some gaming streams.
No,
Yeah,
I haven't. Maybe I should.
yeah. No,
Maybe
he's
I
a
should
funny
look into
dude.
that.
I think he's pretty good. I think he's a pretty good streamer and talks GameStop. So how can I like him? But
Yeah, exactly. Um, I have never
mhm.
been to Amelia Park before. I've never heard of it. I just looked it up. It looks like it's in the Miami
Mhm.
area though.
No, damn, not too far.
So yeah, that's my zone. I'll have to look at it.
Yeah, I'm just checking back on the chat. Oh yeah, sorry if I wasn't say hello. Thank you to all of you that are here. Much appreciated. I
Yeah,
wasn't always keeping up with things. Try to keep the convo, but also check over here and there. But
lots of birthday wishes for you.
yes, no, I'm honored. Thank you guys very much. Much
A
appreciated.
birthday? Should we sing happy birthday?
That's all right. We could sing that when GameStop goes up, and then I have a birthday celebration.
Yeah. Tomorrow GameStop hits $100 a share.
That'd be cool. That would be better than any birthday gift I could ever imagine. Honestly, that'd be very nice.
Yeah. Well,
I.
what do they say? The effectiveness of the gift is maximized when the recipient rather than the giver decides how the capital is allocated.
Oh,
You
I
know?
never heard of that, but
No, I just heard that as a joke before, where it's like the excuse for giving money as a gift. It's like it's
Mhm.
more effective if the person who gets the money gets to decide how it's spent rather than the person buying the gift. I
Yeah,
don't know,
that is
but I
kind of a
mean,
good point. Yeah,
if GameStop goes to the moon, that's a pretty good birthday gift.
it's gonna be like that meme of when you go to work and then it's like I think it was like more of a crypto meme when Bitcoin was going up, and it's like when you hold a
Mhm.
ton of Bitcoin, it's going up, and your boss is like, "Why were you late?" And you're like, "Watch your mouth," because it's like I'm about to quit. I'm rich. You know what I mean? Like that. That's how I'm gonna be
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
Tetron, why are you late
exactly.
for work? No one calls me late. No, why are you late for work? I'm like, what'd you say?
Yeah, yeah. You want to try that again?
I'm just kidding. Yeah, sorry, say that one more time. Sorry, what?
Yeah.
What?
Just made 500% on my GameStop
Yeah,
investment. Yeah, watch your mouth.
that's right. Dividends coming soon, but
Yeah.
there is actual no Scott. I don't know exactly GameStop's birthday. I should look when I guess they're officially incorporated or the day they went public. I guess you could kind of say or the birthday. I don't
Yeah.
know. I was just saying. I guess there's no real GameStop birthday. And we could ask like Bart, like, what is GameStop's birthday? But
Oh,
and
this
Brett,
is
thank you for being
interesting.
here. Appreciate you.
This is actually kind of funny. I'm sorry. I just looked up
No, you're
the
good.
GameStop IPO date was February 12th, 2002. That was 1 year before my birthday. Exactly. I was born
Oh
February
damn.
12th, 2003. So
Oh
that's kind
damn.
of crazy.
That is pretty nuts. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Maybe there's a sign here. It's all meant to be. Yeah. So you should have
Oh
told
my
Kramer.
God.
Should have been like,
Yeah.
hey, did you know GameStop went public 1 year before I was born?
Yeah. Yeah, Kramer.
Dude. I would honestly, I don't think he would ever come on here because I'm a GameStop guy, but I would love to interview Kramer because
Yeah.
I just think it would be funny. Like, and
Yeah.
I've
You
just
do a good
I've
impression
known
of
him
him.
for a long time. Thank you. I don't know. I feel like I can't do it if I'm trying, but if I just
Yeah.
like just go into it, I don't know. He's just like,
Yeah.
I love that company.
Yeah, there you go.
He just like
Perfect.
they got a nice balance sheet, or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, or just like the way he says stuff, and then his like
Yeah.
facial expressions. Like I actually thought he was hilarious when I was younger, and first
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I think I was telling you the first time we talked, like I actually used to watch him when I was younger, and I was
Mhm.
like curious. Like I never just like bought the stocks, or like, it never like was like, oh, that
Yeah.
stock I saw that bad money, and then it went up so much. I was never like this
Mhm.
revelation, but I was like
Mhm.
this guy with this soundboard, and I was like, I don't know, but even my dad like knows him, right? He remembers when I used to watch like Mad Money, or like I would just throw it on the TV.
Mhm.
And then, like, when I watched a clip of it on, like, YouTube again, like, fairly recently, he was like, "Oh, that's that guy." Like, he remembered him, like, just because he's, like, so memorable like that. And I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, yeah, like, my opinion of him has changed a lot these days." Or, like,
Yeah.
I'm not watching him for a good reason right now.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I
there
I never was like, well, so I don't know. I never really had a strong opinion on him either way before the
Mhm,
Nathan from Florida incident. I
mhm,
was more like I I thought it was hilarious, like the inverse Kramer stuff. I thought that was really funny. I noticed the
mhm.
pattern of him saying, "Oh, Bear Stearns is solid," and then, "Oh, that
Oh,
was a
yeah.
lie," stuff like that. I saw him on Iron Man. He was he was an Iron Man once.
He
Um,
was?
he was an Iron
Oh,
Man.
wow, I didn't realize that. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
so was Elon Musk.
I know
Um,
Elon was. Yeah, yeah. That was
yeah, but
funny.
it was hilarious because in Iron Man, Kramer was talking about how Stark Industries, which is Iron Man's company, is going to fail. It's
Mhm.
going to go under, and then it doesn't, and it's like super profitable.
Even in there, that's hilarious. Even in the
even
movie, Inverse
even in the
Kramer, if you had
movie,
bought Stark Industries, you would have went to the moon.
exactly,
Dude, that's actually funny as
exactly.
hell.
Oh, it's hilarious, and yeah. So I was like, oh, that's great. The inverse Kramer applies in fiction. So yeah, I didn't really think too much of him
Mhm,
either way. I thought he was kind of like a an establishment hack.
mhm.
He kind of speaks for the companies and
Yeah,
screws
yeah.
over the people who listen to him. And like it's definitely on purpose. Like the inverse Kramer is like it's got to be on purpose at this point.
Yeah.
Like he's just got to
There's
be
literally
screwing
an
people over.
ETF. I mean, that's how far this
Yeah,
meme has come, that it's literally
yeah.
started as a meme and it went as far as somebody with money made an ETF. Like, and I
Hmm.
think it's actually performed well. I don't even know. I'm gonna look
Yeah.
it up.
There
And how
somebody
do they
had like
even go ahead.
Michael Reeves, a YouTuber, had a goldfish that picked stocks.
Oh,
And
I remember that.
I'm pretty sure it outperformed Kramer. Um,
It's crazy.
yeah.
S
So
Jim. That's
yeah,
hilarious. That's the ticker. S Jim. Like short Jim.
yeah. I
Checking
wanna
right now.
buy into the inverse Kramer ETF. Is that on Fidelity? Um,
Let's see. It hasn't been around too long. I mean, it's mostly kind of gone sideways. but it's funny. So I guess
Let me
any
see.
company he doesn't believe in, they purchase or they short the other ones. It's like the largest holding right now is like Roblox, and then IBM, Pfizer,
Roblox?
Micron, PayPal, Blocks. Yeah, it's so
Roblox is
random.
hold on. Roblox is a publicly traded company. What?
Yes, you didn't know that? Yeah, it is. Dude, it was like hyped for a while, like, oh, they're gonna do like
What?
metaverse and start like rising the stock, and I'm like, yo, what?
Bro.
You know what I
What?
actually wanted to do? Because my
Oh,
little
hold on. Oh,
cousin, she
sorry.
loves. Oh no, you're good.
Hold on a second. My headphones died.
Oh no, you're good. See it. Brady's calling people out. Ryan Cohn don't give a fuck, and I love it. Oh, I gotta check Ryan Cohn's Twitter. I haven't even been looking.
There we go. Okay.
Oh no, you're good. I was just replying to chat real quick. I'll say I haven't checked Ryan Cohn's Twitter.
Dude, Roblox, that's crazy.
But yeah, Roblox. Yeah, Scott, you're right. Roblox is huge. My little cousin loves it. She's always playing. But I was legit thinking, I mean, you could do this, but I don't think she would actually care. So like, I probably shouldn't. But I was like, I should buy her a share of Roblox and be like, you're a part owner of the game you
Yeah.
love, and you don't quite
Yeah.
understand, but you're technically a one fractional owner.
shareholder.
Like, and then if it
Yeah.
actually goes up, like, be like, see, Tate, I told you. Told you when you were young, it was gonna go to the moon.
Yeah. So I guess the inverse Kramer hasn't been
Mhm.
moving too much. It's like when it's all what is it down like
Yeah, I gotta look at a better chart. I'm on Market Watch. Also,
yeah, that's what
did
I
just
am right
kind of
now.
start trading.
Yeah, that's true. I think it's down maybe like 50 cents, right? Or like 70 cents.
Yeah, look at
I don't know.
KramerETFs.com. It's just hilarious. It's a pitch like it's as Jim, and then it's an upside down like bull. Everybody, if you
Uh,
know everybody, if you want to right now, check out KramerETFs.com if you want a good laugh.
yeah, that's great.
Kids legit
Yeah.
motivated by Robux. Clean your room for bucks, so on. No
Yeah.
way. I'll tell my aunt that. I'm like, hey, I have a hack if you need you know, her to clean her room. Just be like, hey, I'll buy you some
Yeah.
Robux. Or I'll as she gets older, it's like my cousins need like a ride home from the bar. Like her brother's like, send you some Robux.
Yeah.
Come pick me up, please. Send me the
Should I
modern
should
like
I
economy.
should I buy some Roblox right now?
I don't even know how their stock has been doing. I don't even know their financial situation.
I
I
don't
mean,
either.
I don't know
For the
how they
meme.
can really have a path to growth. I mean,
They
it's a
made it what they're up 3% today.
it's a $24 billion company in market cap. Damn,
Yeah,
they're bigger than I
it's
thought.
I think it's lost like half of its value in the last or since it opened, since it had its IPO. It went I mean
Yeah,
it was at one point up like 108%. And then since
it's
that
nuts.
point it's dropped pretty significantly.
Yeah, it's
Market
crazy.
cap yeah, the market cap of Roblox is 23.95 billion,
It's insane.
which dude, I want to
It's like
invest
three
for the meme.
GameStops. Yeah, for the
Yeah,
meme.
for the meme, I want to own some Roblox.
Can't wait for Web3. Me too, Brett. Me too. Maybe yeah, maybe Roblox is doing something with Web3, which then they're a competitor to GameStop, and I want nothing to do with them.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, no, and also yeah, GME's market cap is literally 1/3 of Roblox right now, and they already have
Is Roblox
all the stores.
overvalued like crazy, or is GameStop just super undervalued? Because there's no
Probably
way a
both.
Roblox, like, dude, there's just no shot. Like, I didn't
Yeah.
even know Roblox was publicly traded. That's hilarious, dude.
I remember when it came out, my friends were like, we were texting about it. I'm like, is there a trade here? Or, I mean, like I said, I'm not really trading, but it was like in a group chat, they're like, oh, is there a trade here? Is this a play? And someone's like, it's just funny. Like, it's just like,
Yeah.
traders chat. People just say shit. So someone just comes in like, are you fucking serious? Roblox? Like, you guys think you guys are investing in this kid's game? Like, I don't know. Someone
Yeah.
just came in and started cooking, like, for no reason. And that because there was like a whole like group chat. I just remember that's how I knew on phone because everyone was just like, popping off in the group chat talking
Yeah.
about it one day. I was like Roblox, like
Who let bro cook? Like what?
yeah,
So
exactly.
okay, so as of like a year ago,
Mhm.
Roblox was hiring people for Web3 software engineering and NFT
Okay.
related
So they
positions.
are trying to compete with GameStop then, a little bit.
Yeah. So,
They have a decent balance sheet, 2.25 billion in cash, 1.5 billion in debt, but obviously depends on the debt and doesn't look like they're turning a fat profit, so and their revenue is like just over 2 billion. GameStop's is like 5 it's declining, yes, but I think the web3 will really turn things around. But their revenues right now like 5.8 billion for what was it the year of or definitely way higher than Roblox, so better balance sheet. So I think as a whole, it's still a better
mhm.
play, but it would be interesting to see if Roblox was on the GameStop player platform. That'd be dope.
Yeah. I mean, it might be. It might be.
Yeah, that's the thing I'm still trying to wrap my head around how different games can actually be on different platforms.
Mhm.
Like I saw some people saying because GameStop partnered with Elixir that you can actually play Fortnite through Elixir and another game. So that's
Well, yeah,
something like I can't fully.
when it
Do you know
comes
anything
to
about that?
video games, it's
Hmm.
kind of confusing because there are competing video game platforms. Like Valve is privately traded, like it's privately owned, so it's not publicly traded.
Hmm.
And they are far and away the best. Like objectively, they make the highest quality games, and
Hmm.
they own Steam, which is where everybody uses. That's the main
Hmm.
platform that people download and play games on is Steam. So like that's like they have platforms that you can download games and buy games on, like Steam, but they also have the Epic Game Store, and they have
Hmm.
like the Riot Games has its own proprietary thing. You have Origin, you have Activision Blizzard has its own,
Hmm.
and that's I believe probably an integration with Epic, the company that made Fortnite,
Hmm.
allowed it to have this integration with
Gotcha.
these other things. So that's probably what would be happening. I would be shocked if Valve did something like that uh, um, with integration with NFTs. I
Hmm.
don't think that Valve would be doing that because they already have such a huge grip on
Hmm.
the
With what they're
gaming,
doing.
on
And
PC
the
gaming. Yeah,
Steam Marketplace
yeah.
is its
Steam
own thing.
Marketplace. They make tens of like hundreds of billions on Steam alone a year. Like
From
and
the
they sell a
marketplace
Steam
or
Deck.
just
No, from
mhm.
Steam, all of it combined, they make like hundreds of billions a year. It's crazy how much money
Gotcha,
Valve
gotcha.
is makes from
Mhm.
Steam. The Steam generates a huge amount of money. So I'd be shocked if they even because like to do that they would have to like open up the market, and they'd have to like cut
Mhm.
out part of the money that they could potentially be making if they just did it themselves. So I
Mhm.
think that if anything, Valve would probably be a competitor. Maybe not to GameStop, but
Mhm.
I feel like the way GameStop is, the GameStop sells games and so does Steam. So it's like they
Mhm.
probably are going to be competitors in that way.
I think so.
Um,
Yeah, I
and
say
in
over
which
time.
case,
Mhm.
I don't know, like if there is a direct competition between Valve and GameStop, my
Mhm.
money would be on Valve because
Mhm.
of the amount of control they have in the video gaming industry. Just like I mean they made Half-Life, then
Mhm.
Half-Life is like the game basically. Half-Life 1 pioneered the FPS. Half-Life
Mhm.
2 pioneered like story-driven games. Half-Life Alex pioneered the entirety of like the VR space. It's still the
Gotcha.
best made VR game. They made the best VR headset. Then they made the best handheld, which can play games. So like Valve has not missed once since like
Mhm.
in the last 30 years. And it would be scary to see them go up against GameStop because
Mhm.
of just the amount of control they have over
Mhm. And their
the
history of
video game
success.
industry. Yeah, and their crazy history of success, their crazy
Mhm.
ingenuity that they have. And I'm kind of I'm not impartial. I love Valve. Like
Mhm.
Half Life is one of my favorite series. So like that's coming from a Valve fanboy. But
Gotcha. Yeah, no, you're good. No worries.
yeah, it still would be very worrying
Mhm.
if they like kind of competed because I don't
Mhm.
know if GameStop could win in its current state. I
Mhm.
don't know if it really could ever. But
Yeah.
that's why I think GameStop should focus
Mhm.
not on competing with something like Valve or like but rather like finding some way to integrate,
Mhm.
and then focusing on like Web3 and
Mhm.
stuff like that. Staying out of like I don't know, I don't think they're gonna do it, but like, a software that you download to play games through. Like,
Mhm.
I don't think GameStop's gonna do that. It's not something they've ever said they're gonna do, but I think that they should.
That's coming soon, though, I think.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if it
Mhm.
is, that's like, and they're competing. A lot of companies that do that get trashed on.
Mhm. Yeah, they're already starting to
Because
get people say like, "Oh, GameStop players is gonna be bad," but also
well,
I'll say
that's
before, like, there's
go
still
ahead.
a lot to be determined. Like, we don't know exactly what it's gonna look like, and there's like
Hmm.
the only information that's out right now is really from the terms and conditions and the patent
Yeah.
of the
Well,
actual thing. So,
like if you look at like Epic Games, they are, I guess, the largest competitor to Steam. Steam has not a
mhm,
monopoly because there's not necessarily like it's an infinitely sized market.
mhm,
So there's not really like a way you can have a monopoly. Like it's not like oil where you can own all the oil. It's
mhm,
like, they're just the platform that people put their games on. And like you have like Epic Game Store exclusives where a game like Borderlands 3, for example, for about like 2 years was only available on the Epic Game Store. If you wanted
mhm,
it, you have to go there and buy it. Um, and like you could, I imagine that that's something they could do with if GameStop launches its own. That's something they could do.
mhm,
Another thing that Epic Game Store did was offer like a free game just to anybody. Free game for like a week. You can get this
mhm.
cool game for free. That would drive more users to
I
it.
see.
But
So they need something that
like,
kind of brings.
yeah, but like even then, the social backlash on Epic Game Store exclusives was pretty negative. And there still is like you go because now all the Epic Game Store exclusives that have ever been are now available on Steam. Most people just
Gotcha.
wait. Most people just wait for it to be
I
available on
see.
Steam, and then they make fun of the people who bought it on Epic
Gotcha.
because Steam is just like the highest quality one, and they
Mhm.
just hate having to use a bunch of different launchers. That's what makes me worried about GameStop is because of
Gotcha.
how cemented Valve is and how well
Mhm.
respected they are and how well loved they are. That if there was a direct competition like they
Mhm.
have currently with Epic, that it might not be, might not be too
Mhm.
good for them. But I don't know. Maybe they
Yeah.
can change it. Maybe I mean, if they're
Mhm.
pioneering this Web3 kind of thing,
Mhm.
and they're like the first to do it, if they do it before Valve, then that would be something else. That would be really cool.
Mhm. That's what I was gonna say. I think that's really the X factor that GameStop's really trying to like prioritize individuals being allowed to own the assets within the games and
Yeah.
even potentially trade the game keys. People talk about things like that happening. So I do agree. It's definitely gonna be tough to break into the space. But what
Yeah.
I think maybe GameStop has versus another company that would just be getting involved in this stuff is there's tons of people like me that will try a lot of stuff on the platform simply because it's GameStop, because of the strength of their
Right.
brand name. So I feel like
Right.
that's what gives them the opportunity to compete. But I do agree, like, it's going to be tough because I've talked to like a couple other people who are just like regular gamers, like, oh, I don't want NFTs in gaming. I'm like, okay, but like, if you could just own your own asset and you were described an NFT without actually using the word NFT, you might like that idea, type
What
of
I think
thing.
would what I think would be
Hmm.
cool is like we have the Steam marketplace like with CS:GO. I own a few skins on CS:GO. Like I did case opening stuff like that
Hmm.
is actually very popular still. Like it gets like shit on a lot because it's gambling.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah, I remember my
gambling.
friend used to do it. Yeah, yeah,
It's fun though. Like it's fun to like dude but it's NFTs. It's basically NFTs, but nobody wants to call it that.
yeah. Exactly.
Um
Before it was,
and
yeah.
yeah. And but if GameStop was able to integrate a first person shooter like CS:GO or not even necessarily first person shooter, maybe like an MMO because there is a gap in the
Hmm.
market when it comes to MMOs. Like people want like people don't like World of Warcraft anymore. They want something else that's
Hmm.
better. If GameStop is able to like not necessarily develop its own game, but have a company it works
Hmm.
with and have that game
They need
on,
something new.
yeah, something new that's like a
Hmm.
new
It's
fresh
drawing for
MMO,
sure.
and you can implement something that's kind of like the Steam Marketplace, but it's like within this GameStop thing where you can play this game and you can own it. You can even do like a gotcha game or something. That would probably be better. But like
Hmm.
if you can have in-game assets that you can exchange not only for in platform currency, like with the Steam Marketplace,
Hmm.
you can sell a like if you have an op that's like or if you have
Hmm.
what's it called? Um,
The skin or the.
yeah, like a skin, but like what's a specific one? Like a karambit, like a marble or not marble, like a fade karambit. I forget what it's called. I have one actually.
Hmm.
Right, not one that's like in game. I bought one separately, like a collector thing, because
Oh,
I thought it
nice.
looked cool. But like Black Pearl is what it's called. Yeah, like that's one I
Hmm.
have. That one's in game is worth like $600, right? Because of how
Damn.
rare it is. You can sell it on Steam for $600, but you get that $600 and you can't take it off of Steam. Like that's just in game credit.
Yeah,
Like you use it to buy
exactly.
games and stuff. Like I did a case unboxing. Like the first one I did on CS:GO, I got like a $150 knife. I thought it was like
Nice.
super cool, and then I sold it for $150 and just use it to buy games. Because like the alternative would be to sell it to somebody online and have them like Venmo you or PayPal you,
Yeah, there's
and
some
then
sketchy
you trade
website.
them, and it's like super sketchy, like really sketchy.
Hmm.
And
Exactly.
if they were to able to make it so on like this new GameStop platform where you're able to get this cool looking knife, it's worth $600, and you can
Hmm.
trade it to somebody and then cash out your $600, like that'd be really
Hmm.
interesting because like the person's going to be able to pay for it with their own money, the $600 that goes in, and then you're able to like sell it and take out the $600. I don't know how well that would work from a business perspective, if you would be
Hmm.
allowed to do that, or if that would be taxable income to the
Mm.
individual who
Yeah, I
sells
see.
it.
That's where it can get like technical.
But if you do it with Bitcoin, then it's like it's
Hmm.
not necessarily a like if you connect it to your Bitcoin wallet, it's not necessarily taxable.
Hmm.
If you just trade it for a certain amount of Bitcoin, then I don't think it's not taxable income. So you could do stuff like that where people are able to make money off of that. It might make people super rich just selling in-game stuff.
Hmm. Yeah, people are really like capitalizing on it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I kind of feel
And
like. Oh, go ahead.
like if there was I'm sorry, I'm
No,
just
you're good.
another thing. If there was like a way that GameStop could take a portion of the sales, like 10% of the sales, like I think Valve does something similar, like 10%, somewhere around there. I think Valve actually does like 1% or something like that, something super low. But
Hmm.
of every sale, that makes GameStop super rich.
Hmm.
And like that's a huge way to make money is if you just have these cool items that are super rare, people can sell them in game and make
Hmm.
real
And
money
just
from
take
it.
that 1%.
And then yeah, they just take like the 1 or 2%, maybe like 5%. Then that's like a huge kickback, and they basically have done what Valve has done, and that's a good way to capture the market. And if you're doing that with NFTs, but you don't call them NFTs,
Hmm.
doing Web 3.0, like that is a bright future right there.
Yeah, I think you're definitely right. There's going to be challenges, but yeah, really, if they can allow the ownership of assets for individuals and that simplicity of like, okay, well, now I want to get an actual US dollar. Like, there's a route to do that. I think that's kind of why they did the wallet, like the GameStop like wallet of the NFTs, and also, it has Ethereum network, and then also you could swap it to like immutable, like Looper, and a couple different like parts of the wallet, like based on the blockchain. And then you also have your NFTs in there, but your NFTs are actually your assets. And then I think the NFT marketplace is going to be the in-game assets being traded. And then when they launch GameStop Player, you're going to connect with your wallet. But then if you want to sell, you just do it on the marketplace through the platform. And then maybe the platform also has, it seems like from the patent, like esports and stuff like that as well. So we'll have to see. That's for sure. But
Yeah.
still, definitely a lot of hurdles to jump over. I think you're absolutely right. And, definitely, someone who loves GameStop, and most talking people love GameStop too. It is easy to start to think like, oh yeah, like this is inevitable. But you're right. Like Valve is a huge competitor that's kind of coming around the corner. GameStop is coming around the corner towards looking up against, and they're going to need a lot of people willing to try the new platform, and they're also going to need tons of individuals that want to try the new games, and GameStop's going to need a bunch of new games until one hits, and then ideally starts to gain traction, and then it's a game where people want to start trading the in-game items or the in-game skin or whatever it may be. So we'll have to
All right.
see. But let's see. Yeah, Scott says GME's going way up. I'm huge at
Yeah.
GameStop support, but at the end of the day, speed numbers just say GME 150 billion market cap's wild. Yeah, I think it'll take time, but to me, the whole thing is too with the underlying like alleged. right? Short interest. As the company's growing and succeeding, what makes it so sweet, like icing on the cake, is that it's going to be a short squeeze mixed with a growth story. That's kind of my perspective, and it won't be easy, but I think it's what the risk reward since I've got in to me, the upside is so much higher than the downside. Because also I'm fortunate enough to be in a spot where if I lost every GameStop share I had right now, I lost all of it went to zero, I'd be okay. Like I'm okay. Like I'm not
Mm,
like I mean, obviously it would suck, and I don't want
mm-hmm.
that. I don't think that'll happen. But I'm in a spot where if it goes up a ton and or they start doing dividends, like it's significantly going to change my life. Whereas if it goes down a ton, I'll live on, right? And it'll be a learning experience in the worst case of scenarios. But to me, the whole story too is just so beautiful in that it started as just like, yeah, a bunch of people just buying and holding, and Roaring Kitty, like DFV, was in it before Ryan Cohen even. That's what I think some people don't even realize. He was
Mm-hmm.
buying shares because he thought the company was undervalued before Ryan Cohen got involved. Then Ryan Cohen got involved and he's like, this is great for things. And that's like obviously when everything got to the next level. So we'll have to see.
Yeah.
But hundreds of thousands of stoner dipshits holding the stock with you. But now you're
Oh
good,
yeah.
Connor. It's all about learning.
Apes together strong.
Yep, that's what they say. But yeah, I think I'll probably start wrapping it up here. I'm getting pretty
Yeah. Sorry,
tired.
you wanted to you wanted to end like an hour and a half ago.
Bro, it's all good. This is what I didn't have a plan though. You know how I do it. I just go.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, the conversation got good, so I wasn't gonna stop it. I mean, it's not that I had to do anything. Like I'm just tired, but we're chilling. Yeah, I just go to bed. It's all good.
Yeah.
Then just bounce back tomorrow. So I wouldn't know
Yeah.
when to
Yeah.
sleep
Yeah.
right away anyway, so it doesn't matter. But I think it was a great talk, honestly, and just
Yeah.
various things, and just good to also hear perspective of
Mm-hmm.
not always just I love GameStop or like yo they're gonna
Yeah.
launch
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
marketplace. So I appreciate like the other side of it or the challenges that are ahead for them because I think
Mm-hmm.
that's realistic. But again, I still absolutely believe in it, and I think with a guy like Ryan Cohen at the head of things and strong management, that's really some of the X factors that give them this opportunity to really just see a lot of upside in the future. But we'll see. I mean, also the executives all just got paid in shares. I don't know if you saw Ryan Cohen is the CEO now too after the earnings
Yeah.
or yeah. So
I
and he
lost
bought
money on
more.
that.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
I
you're
lost
trading
money on
right.
the earnings.
Yeah.
Dude, I did calls and I
Mhm.
lost like $300.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of people. I mean, I think we're kind of playing calls going to that earnings, expecting another profitable quarter after the previous one. I mean, also people who did calls in the previous quarter made a ton
Yeah.
too. So there's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
ideas floating around there, but we'll have to see.
Next earnings call, I'm sure will be better.
Yeah, no, I think so too. Because you also have to keep in mind Q1
Yeah.
is the weakest quarter for GameStop historically. And generally, just consumer spending, like expendable spending, isn't as high as it was a year ago. So that's also a
Mm-hmm.
challenge. So there's still more that has to take place. There's still cost cutting. So it's how it was described by one of the other board members, Larry Chang, like the guy who first invested in Chewy. He's
Mm-hmm.
on the board with GameStop now. Like, so he's still in touch with Ryan Cohen. He basically said, like in the CNBC documentary, even though it's BS, he actually had some good points. And he said, like, people expect like turning a company around is like turning around a car. Turning a
Mm-hmm.
company around is like turning around a cruise ship. Like you have to just
Mm-hmm.
shift the whole thing, and it's very slow and tedious at times, but it could be done. And then once you're in the right direction, you're good. But that turnaround is not as simple as you might imagine it. So
Rookie numbers burnt a few thousand in calls. I burned a few thousand in unrealized gains. Does that count?
I feel like that's better. That's better
Yeah,
off to be saying
yeah,
that. But
yeah, definitely. I'm trying
mhm.
not to. I mean, I'm still out ahead when I started investing, so
Nice, nice. That's good.
which is good.
Yeah,
Guess
I
I
like to
could be
think.
like even further
Mhm.
ahead if they didn't fuck
Yeah,
with me. Oh my god, dude, that's made me so annoyed.
yeah. I'd like to think I'm up all time, but I think I was telling you a long time. I've tried everything. I've been messing with finance stuff since I was like 15. I've always had interest, so
Mm,
it's hard to really know what my net like positive
hmm.
loss is across all forms of investing, all things I've tried. And
Yeah,
also most of what I have that like I'm just holding GameStop, so that's obviously a huge factor because that none of that's realized yet. So
yeah.
Yeah. Fun fact: your
How
brain
do you,
remembers losses more than wins. That makes sense. That
That's
kind of
true.
makes sense. Yeah.
Do you share how many shares of GameStop you own, or is that private information?
It's private information, but
Private.
I could
Okay.
share with you off stream.
Oh, all right. Bet.
I'll give you like a ballpark, but
Okay.
it's.
I mean, I've shared how
Mhm.
many I own. I don't know if that's like etiquette not to. Not to share
I mean, I don't think
how
there's
many
like
shares you own.
an official
But
rule, but I just kind of. I
yeah.
feel like some people be like, "Oh, that's it," or some people like, "Oh, you don't
Yeah.
have enough," or I mean, or you have too many, or I don't know. I just, for me
Mhm.
personally, also it's like my account has ever changed, and
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
also I feel like because I'm specifically GameStop, whereas you're like, "Oh yeah, I got some of this, some of that," where I feel like if I
Mhm.
was in your shoes, I'd be more like, "Yeah, whatever," like it's just what
Yeah.
I got. So I think you're chilling.
I'm trying to increase my shares slowly but surely.
No, but
I'm
that's
making
the
some
way though.
money,
That's exactly
making
how
a
you
little
got to
bit
do
here.
it. Honestly, just steadily increasing your
Yeah.
position. That's kind of what I've
Yeah.
been doing, and
I take most of the profits that I make from the options trading that I do. I take like a portion of that, and well, actually, all of it actually is
mhm.
what I reinvest.
Nice.
I don't think I've actually cashed out yet. Um, if anything I've made, but
hmm
I take that money, and then I obviously I've had to like move it, but that same amount of money is just being put reinvested
hmm
into in GameStop especially.
That's the way. Yeah. No, I mean, it'd be really exciting to one day reinvest dividends at GameStop right back into it. So that'd be
Hey, I mean,
cool.
I did that with Intel.
hmm
Hold on a second.
Oh, you're good.
Yeah, not to brag or anything, guys, but I made $2 in dividends off Intel. So
Oh, big money, big money.
yeah, big money moves.
Yeah.
Reinvested that.
It'd be cool also if maybe GameStop did a special dividend one day, like once they're free cash flow positive, EPS positive. Like, you ever hear how Costco does special dividends sometimes?
No, I haven't, but I've wanted to invest in Costco for a while now.
Yeah, they're, I mean, pretty solid name. I mean, loyal customers, that's, I
They're
think.
opening one near me, or I
Oh,
guess near my
nice.
parents'
Yeah, I was
house.
say I feel like
Yeah.
they're just ever expanding too generally, and the name's not going anywhere. Demand's not going anywhere, right? People are always going to shop Costco. But what they do sometimes with dividends, because their dividend, if you look at it, it's only like 1% as a whole, so it doesn't like look that like
Mm-hmm.
flashy or anything. But if you look at their, like, you type in Costco dividend history, I think they did one in 2021, and they did another one like a few years before that. Every once in a while, they just do like a random like one-time $10 dividend
Oh
to
wow.
shareholders. So
Yeah.
that's really nice if you hold the stock, and then out of nowhere that gets announced. And usually upon that news coming out, it also happens to lift the stock price because it means the company's doing well. So that's something you kind of
Yeah.
keep in mind, and not to get expected, but it could happen,
Mhm.
randomly.
Yeah, is Costco special dividend roasted chicken? Yeah, is Costco special dividend a hot dog?
I was gonna
Is
say
like
it's a $1 hot
Costco hot
dog.
dog? Yeah. Okay, so sorry, before we end,
No,
have
you're
you
good.
been watching Broadcom, AVGO?
No, I'm not too
Okay,
familiar with them.
so I wasn't either, and then they partnered with Apple to do like
hmm
a partnership with 5G. I think like that something I can't remember the exact details, but their stock price went insane. So they were
Oh wow, yeah,
trading.
it's been doing well.
Yeah, so like I heard about them first, and they were at like $600 a share, which is already crazy high.
hmm
They're semiconductor manufacturing, so like they were Apple's doing
hmm
like new 5G stuff. They need chips that are compatible, so they were partnered with Broadcom. Their stock price after that partnership went up $289, which is absolutely insane.
Yeah,
An
consider their
insane
market cap.
increase. Yeah,
Just look at
right.
that,
And
damn.
so then I bought in a little bit because then it was hovering at 800 and it dropped down to like 770, and I bought
hmm
in, and then I think I made like $40. I bought like one share or something. I don't know if it was like 40, but I cashed out at a certain point. It went back up to like 800, but it didn't look like it was staying.
hmm
I was like, I just lost money on this. I didn't lose money. I lost unrealized gains on this
hmm
Apple thing. I'm not having a good day. I'm just gonna cash out. I ended up being like maybe $20 ahead. But now their stock price is like crazy high again. It was just up to like $880. Like
Yeah, it looks like it's trying to push a new high again. Kind
I
of.
have I have no idea how this company is like increasing so much.
Yeah, it's
It's
just
it
trying to
doesn't.
read some
I don't know. It's
headlines.
I don't know anything about this company either. It's like super like
Hmm.
obscure, but like I found it was worth $600 a share. I'm like, how have I never heard of this company before? You
Yeah, it
know?
is one of those like big names. Also, I feel like I've kind of heard of it, or like when you said the name, I was like, I
Hmm.
kind of know of it, but I didn't. Then I
Yeah.
looked. I'm like, wait, what the fuck? This thing is 300
Hmm.
billion something dollar market cap.
Yeah, yeah,
Like it's like what?
339 billion.
Yeah, it's.
Crazy.
I mean, it looks like they're growing their revenues. They have decent balance sheet, free cash flow positive. And when I look at stuff like at a glance, just see where companies at, I always go to Yahoo Finance and then I
Hmm.
pull up like the statistics tab and I just kind of give that a glance. That's usually my overview.
Yeah.
So my thought is they're probably doing stuff like buying back shares too to help the stock price and because they have a
Hmm.
lot of profits, it looks like,
Yeah.
and their balance sheet, they have like 10 billion cash, 40 billion in debt, and
They have 20,000 employees.
damn,
That's insane. That's so
that is
crazy.
crazy. Where are they based out of? I don't even know.
San Jose.
Damn.
I'd never heard of them until like May. I'm
I'm gonna
like
go to their
they have
website.
like the amount of employees they have is larger than my hometown. Like it's like larger than the
That's
population of my
crazy.
hometown. It's crazy.
Yeah, their website doesn't look that elite. It looks kind of old.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. Yeah.
Product solutions, how to buy.
Yeah, they're a semiconductor manufacturing company. Which is I think probably a solid thing to look into if
Hmm.
in the event that Taiwan is invaded, then it's probably a pretty solid guess that they're going to do well off of that,
Yeah, no, I mean
in
it
my
makes
opinion.
sense. Yeah, I mean the semiconductors in general too. It seems like they're not going anywhere, right? They're kind of in everything these days more and more. So in general, like it
Mhm.
doesn't really seem like that market's going to stop growing at all. Like
Mhm.
so, I think those are interesting investments too that I start to think about. Like where does future me potentially invest down the line, all that stuff, and something I also think about, cybersecurity. Like one name
Mhm.
I'm interested in that I kind of keep an eye on, called Fortinet, FTNT. They've bought back shares for a long time. They have huge insider ownership, so I think they really just operate their business very well. And actually, like a long time ago, I looked into it. Like I had my, I think I told you I had like failed YouTube channels and stuff, and I did one with my friend for a little while, like years ago, and we decided like we're gonna look at all make a video like looking at all cybersecurity companies and determine which one we thought was best, like in our like analysis type of thing. And Fortinet was the one we came to, and I followed it since, and I'm like, damn, they've split, they've continued to buy back shares, they don't have a dividend, they're growing their revenue a lot. So interesting name in the cybersecurity space. But then
Yeah.
my our thought process with that was cybersecurity is not going anywhere. There's only going to be more demand for it. Everything's only getting more digital. So if that's the case, what company is in position to capture the growth of the whole market? Because I'm interested in the industry, and then that's how we kind of like got to that. So might be kind of an interesting one to keep an eye on. But I feel like that's kind
Yeah.
of the same with the semiconductor space.
Mhm.
Whereas there's different variations of it, and you know who's selling to who, and direct to consumer. And I'm obviously not a genius on this category, but when you think of the category growing as a whole, then it's just a matter of like picking the name that you think is best type of deal. Or that's kind of how I've come to
Right.
think of it.
Right.
But yeah, I think
Yeah,
that'll
we
be it
should
for today.
probably
Yeah, I can't
we
believe
should
it's
probably
already.
wrap up. Going on 3 hours. Crazy.
Yeah, it's so weird. Sometimes streaming feels like 5 minutes, sometimes it feels like hours. Like I don't know. And then also before I felt like all right, it's kind of wrapping up, and then I like forgot we were wrapping up. Like I don't know. And then you're
Yeah.
like, yeah, it was
Yeah.
like an hour and whatever after. And I'm like, damn, yeah, it actually was. It's crazy. So
I mean, when the conversation carries.
exactly. Yeah, that's why right now we're talking about like structure and stuff in the future. But, like right now, I
Mhm.
found my best stuff is kind of just not trying too hard to make it a certain way or
Mhm.
sort of that, just kind of
Yeah.
flow and
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
learn as I go. Right. So
Yeah. Yeah.
we out here, but
Absolutely.
everyone else subscribe to, or follow rather isolation streams on Twitch, and
Also
then
subscribe on
or
YouTube.
subscribe to. Yes.
I'll do a short plug. I made
Sounds good.
a vlog, and it's pretty cool. I went to Scandinavia with my brother last summer, and I finally made a vlog and published it earlier this month. It's very
Nice.
funny. You should watch it if you enjoy vlog content. If you don't, you should
Check
watch
it
it
out.
anyway. And that's it. We are coming out with a video soon. I keep saying that, but I have just been so
Oh
inundated
yeah,
with
yeah.
work. We gotta. I gotta. I still
Nah,
have to
you're good,
like
bro.
finish filming my
It's all
part,
good.
but I will announce that once that's
Little
done.
collaboration, yeah.
Yeah,
And
a
then
little bit of a collab.
most of the knowledge I provided in the clips for those videos was mostly from speaking to my coworker. He was kind of giving me
Hmm.
some insight and stuff like that because he's very familiar with Tesla. So yeah,
Yeah,
so that'll be cool. But for now, GameStop can't stop, won't
yeah,
stop. But
yeah.
yeah, so
I'll. Yeah. All right. Are we wrapping up officially?
yep. And actually, I want to say one more thing before I forget. Or to anybody that wants to come on, check it out on Thursday. I'm gonna go on Marant's Rants' show, so you guys can check that out
Ah,
Thursday night.
go check it out.
That's right. But yeah, so we'll officially
All
wrap
right.
it up here now. I feel like I said that a lot of times now, but
I'm gonna outro.
it's
I'm gonna
official.
walk
Oh
out
yeah,
this door,
perfect, perfect.
and
So we
we're
can
gonna
clip in,
outro.
clip out.
I'm leaving now.
Farewell.